Rasengan! Naruto yelled as he charged as Sasuke. Kit, lower the chakra input. The hag said to retrieve him, not kill him. The Kyuubi said mid-air. Chidori! Exclaimed Sasuke, who was hellbent on power from the cursed seal. When both of the jutsu collided, everything was at a standstill until a large dome of blinding energy. After the energy faded, one figure was on the ground surrounded by blood, while the other was standing on the first. The standing figure was Sasuke Uchiha, who thought a single thing before he passed out. I beat Dobe. Wait, who is that redhead walking here? The person walking to the bodies was tall with and had 3 diagonal scars. Donned in a black cloak with flowing straight red hair and a katana on his back. He walked to the blonde teen floating in the water he just spoke. Pitiful Uchiha. Even with that great Sharingan, he couldn't tell that his opponent was holding back. The man picked up Naruto, put him on his shoulders and left. Finally found you, nephew. Time to take you time, the man thought. The kid felt much lighter than the man thought before, assuming he was probably malnourished. Even then, he had potential and great raw power. It was time the kid learned how to use it. Konoha. Tsunade could barely drink from the results of the retrieval team. Niji and Chuji in critical condition on the edge of death. Kiba severely injured as well, Shikamaru a broken finger, but the worst of which, Naruto was nowhere to be found. The Senju yelled at Shizune, who was outside talking to the clan heads, to come in the room. Where is my little brother? Kakashi's head hung low as his tone was grave. Forgive me, Hokage-sama. We could not recover him. There was a large pool of blood in the area where we found Sasuke, but no wounds on Sasuke's body indicating it was his. We have to assume Naruto's gone. The silver-haired Jounin struggled out. Tsunade's expression filled with one of anguish and pain as Shizune rushed to her, trying to comfort her as tears poured from her eyes. Before the aide could make a movement to help her superior, Tsunade put her arm up. I want every available shinobi searching. Now! Both Kakashi and Shizune nodded as they went off to carry out the orders, leaving Tsunade alone in the office. Her head crashed on the desk with her arms on her forehead. Droplets streamed down her cheeks and nose as her silent cries were audible in the dead quiet of the room. Why did I have to lose you too? Forest. Naruto's eyes fluttered open as he attempted to get up only to have a surge of agony spark throughout his spine and chest. He looked down to see a heavy wrapping of gauze and bandages, slightly bloody. He looked across his arms and peeled off some of the bandages to see a cut slowly closing. That team. He could have killed me. You stupid brat. You lowered the power of your jutsu too much. He pierced your lung, and you would have been dead if it wasn't for me. The Kyuubi spoke menacingly. Gee, thanks for the help, furball. Didn't know you cared. Shut your mouth, you pathetic human. I don't care about your life, but if you are weak then it makes me look bad. You do care. The Kyuubi roared at Naruto within his mind, but Naruto cut the connection as he slowly got up. Naruto got out of the tent, much to his body's displeasure. He continued to a small campfire which had a tall redhead with 3 diagonal scars going down the right side of his face, almost slashing his eye. Naruto sat down a few feet away from him, next to the fire, and saw that the man's eyes were closed. Before Naruto could speak, the red-haired stranger simply hushed him. This continued until eventually, after 10 minutes of sitting quietly, the blonde's brash attitude took over and he said, Who are you and why did you save me? The man just remained quiet. Answer me. Finally the man answered, My name is Kenshin Uzumaki. I am a survivor of the Whirlpool Massacre, veteran of the 3rd Great Shinobi War, and your uncle. In the next 3 months, I will train you in the arts of the Uzumaki clan. Thoughts rushed throughout Naruto's head. He had family. He wasn't alone. He shouldn't have been alone. He should have had help. He should have been loved. Where was this person when he needed him? Where was he when the village mistreated him for years on end? Pain, suffering, hate, kill. These words resonated through Naruto's mind as crimson chakra began to bubble. It quickly escaped his skin and encased his body, wrapping around it like translucent armor as Naruto's features became beast-like. With his teeth now fangs, fingers now claws, eyes now bloody red slits, The boy's roar shook the forest as birds escaped the trees. Rayura! Where the hell were you? My life has been living hell because you weren't there. Naruto lashed out with his claws only to miss due to Kenshin's speed. Said adult pulled out a tag that said suppress and slammed it on Naruto. His cloak dissipated but his eyes, teeth and whiskers were the same. The boy fell onto his uncle's shoulders crying as all of the sorrow, anger, hate, and emotion poured out as the pressure within him cracked. Don't worry. I'm here. Now let's discuss about that Uchiha and how you were treated. I will tell you the truth about your parents and what really happened to our village. Konoha. Kakashi. Explain what happened when you found Sasuke Uchiha. Tsunade commanded with such venom at the end, it would be enough to put Orochimaru and Manda to shame. When I arrived to the scene, I found Sasuke lying in a pool of blood. I rushed to him until Pakun informed me that it wasn't Sasuke's, but instead Naruto's. He wasn't anywhere to be found. All that was left was the Shodame's necklace and his Konoha headband. The copycat Nin explained with grief and sorrow in his voice. I'm sorry, Minato-sensei. I promised I would protect Naruto, and because of my jutsu, he is dead. Everyone in the room felt some wave of sorrow. Hinata's eyes were puffy from crying as Temari tried to calm her down. Lee's tears streamed down as he had lost a dear friend and rival. Tenten was sad as well but also worrying about her teammate, Niji. Ino was feeling grief and worry as well for Chuji. Shino stayed silent but speechless anger flooded his body as there was a slight buzzing in the air. All shinobi expressed some form of grief until a pink-haired Kunoichi spoke up. Is Sasuke-kun okay? The traitor killed your teammate and you are worried about the stupid Uchiha? Temari exclaimed. Well, I mean at least Sasuke-kun's back. This instantly caused Tsunade to slap her with enough chakra to knock into unconsciousness but sadly not kill her, sending her into the wall with a heavy thud. I think that was rather justified. Ino of all people spoke up. Everyone looked at her and she felt some offense to this. What? Sasuke killed Naruto. He fled Konoha. I may not have liked Naruto as much as you guys, but that Uchiha doesn't deserve to live? Shikamaru finished for her with anger evident on his face. Everyone sensed the tension in the air. The event had changed them all. Ino no longer used Kuin with Sasuke. Shikamaru showed an emotion other than indifference. Lee stopped talking about youth for the moment. A certain white-haired shinobi was seen at the window, with a face of utter shock. His godson was dead. His student. The only family he had felt as of recent. He struggled to process what he had overheard. His chakra spiking and falling like a heart monitor. Emotional discord flooding his mind as the sage was unable to express how he felt losing another student. Jiraiya! Tsunade began only for him to raise his hand to stop her. The sage reached into her cabinet to bring out a bottle of sake and left using the same method at which he came. No one could blame him, not the genin or their jounin sensei, especially not Tsunade. He cared for Naruto as much as Tsunade did. Both saw the boy as family to some degree. Sorrow filled Jiraiya as he took a sip from the bottle. You should have buried me, you stupid brat. You should have buried me. 2 hours later in Konoha. I gather you all today to explain a great loss in our ranks. The loss of Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade could barely keep her tears from flowing out like a faucet. Naruto was murdered in cold blood by Sasuke Uchiha. Then we should celebrate for the loss of the demon. Uchiha-sama is a hero. Sasuke-sama finished what the Yondaime started. Random civilians yelled out of ignorance. Silence. Listen here, you pathetic excuses to human beings. That boy was one of the most kind-hearted and compassionate people to ever exist. All he wanted was to prove himself to you all, get stronger, and protect his home. Protect Konoha. Even now you all spit at him, treat him like some demon or subhuman. I couldn't give less of a fuck about whatever law my sensei implemented. As Hokage, I am making it clear and loud for everyone to know. Naruto was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, not the Kyuubi himself. He contained and kept us safe from the demon. Yet for years you mistreated him and abused him and looked down upon him. I've had enough of it and won't let you ruin the legacy he stood for. The legacy of Naruto and his father, Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage. Audible gasps were heard throughout the audience of shinobi and civilian alike. Murmurs of disbelief and jeers evident, but one voice stood out in the crowd. There's no way Naruto Baka could be the son of our greatest hero. He was too stupid and weak, screeched Sakura. Just then, a very swift Hyuga rapidly engaged in a barrage of juken hits upon her body. You better shut up, you tramp. Naruto-kun was the strongest out of all of us. He saved all of the village and even you from Gaara when he was being controlled by the Ichibi. He beat Niji Nizan in the finals. Coming from a weakling who can't even use any real jutsus. Everything that you said about Naruto-kun is bullshit. Everyone, and even the Abruames and Hyugas, were surprised to see that the brave ninja was Hinata Hyuga. The young heiress' attitude was fueled with determination from Tsunade's speech and anger from how her home village reacted to Naruto's death. It truly repulsed her. As she left to train and improve in order to honor Naruto's legacy, Tsunade ended the speech. Not a single shinobi or citizen dare say another bad word about Naruto in front of the Hokage. They had seen what the Sannin was capable of, and no one would stand a chance. Hell's fury would be a tickle compared to insulting someone she loved. Kenshin's camp. Uzushiogakure was a very powerful nation in the Land of Water, which contained some of the finest Fuinjutsu and Kenjutsu masters. But during the Third Great Shinobi War, Kumo and Iwa attacked. Uzushio was under siege for 2 months. Uzushio fell, but not so easily. Our mastery in the shinobi arts greatly crippled Kumo and Iwa. Thinking that Uzushio had fallen, their forces retreated. But it was thanks to a new seal developed by me and my sister. It is called the Phantom Intangibility Seal, and because of it we were hidden and protected. 24 original families escaped and spread the seal throughout the land along with high-level illusion seals. It seemed Uzushio was destroyed. But we spent the last 10 years building and 3 years preparing to return, Kenshin explained to his young nephew. Wait, you said you and your sister? Naruto asked him. Yes, Naruto, your mother is alive. Kenshin smiled, being happy that the boy was picking up on certain context clues. Perhaps he wasn't a total idiot after all. Do I have an aunt? Naruto asked with a curious look on his face, making Kenshin's eye first twitched before he fell to the ground in frustration. How could he be this dense? No, your mother is alive. How do you know Iroku-sensei's big head jutsu? Never mind that, now we must begin your training. All we need to do is fix your diet, give you some resistance, gravity, and weight seals. Then we will begin your Kenjutsu, Fuinjutsu, and Kyubi training, explained the redhead. By the time he was done, Naruto was going to be stronger than Minato and quite the ladies' man. How do you know about furball?
Ungrateful brat.
How would you like it if I called you Fleshbag? I get the point. I'm your uncle, duh. Plus there are more surprises for you than there will be for me, Kenshin cryptically replied. Alright, your new clothes won't be ready until tomorrow, so I'm going to place tags on you. How about 30 extra pounds on each limb and 10% resistance? Ugh. Naruto instantly fell to the ground. As he got up, he felt like he was moving through syrup. Not only did his limbs feel heavy, but every movement the boy made required much more effort and energy. Although Naruto knew it would make him stronger, it certainly didn't seem easy to any degree yet. Something tells me this is just the beginning. Naruto struggled to speak as he saw Kenshin's sadistic grin. Konoha. Tsunade was peacefully relaxing, somehow completing the dreaded paperwork almost instantly in her rage. It stayed quiet until an ANBU with a bear mask shoe shined into the room. Hokage-sama, Uchiha-san has awoken. The only injuries he has sustained are mild bruising and several scratches. With this, Tsunade was relieved. Not that she cared for the Uchiha, but that he was physically stable. Enough for. Send him to the T&I department. Tell Inoichi and Ibiki not to hold back. I want to know every last detail of what happened to Naruto. I shall escort him with Cat and Ape. After he left, the only thing that Tsunade could think was, what happened to you? Where are you? Konoha. Cat, Bear and Ape along with 5 jonin were in the middle of escorting one, barely injured Uchiha Sasuke to the INT department, until they were stopped by random civilians, the Civilian Council, Hamura, and Koharu. What do you ANBU think you are doing? Asked/screeched Mabuki Haruno, a Civilian Council member. Under the authority of the Civilian Council, you are to release custody of Uchiha-sama to us. With that, a very stupid Jonin picked up Sasuke and almost gave him to the crowd. Almost, until Tsunade and Kakashi shoeshined to the district scene. Kazana, may I request to be informed of what you are doing? I am give Sasuke-san to the council as requested. They are my superiors. Just then Cat hit a nerve on his neck. Everyone except Tsunade was aghast, until Cat reached into his pouch and brought out a blank NBU mask with the word, root. Tell me, Cat, where does the Civilian Council fall under the Shinobi Authority branch? Nowhere, Hokage-sama. The only council that is related to shinobi matters is the Shinobi Council. Also, the elders have no power under the Hokage's command. They are just advisors. Explained correctly, knowledged ANBU. You hear that? Rhetorically asked the young/oldish fire shadow. Now, under my authority, you are to leave Kenshin's camp. Naruto was in the process of running 2 miles, 50 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, 65 crunches, 115 jumping jacks, and 45 squats in order to get suited to his new seal movements. Every time he was suited to the seal's movement burden, Kenshin would increase them. QB, thank you so much for the gift of stamina from being sealed into me. Kit, I gave you healing, not stamina. It probably ties with your family bloodlines. Bloodlines? That is so cool. Focus, your uncle is calling you. Yo Naruto, you seem used to you seals, so we can test them out. Come at me with intent to kill. Great, now he sounds like Kakashi-sensei. Naruto dashed forward, attempting to punch. Even though his seals were still activated, he never felt so agile. The punch was about to connect until Kenshin's right hand caught Naruto's left hand in a claw-like manner. As soon as he applied pressure to his wrist and joints, he couldn't feel them anymore. It was as if they didn't exist. I never said start. Kenshin simply informed to Naruto while regained control of his hand while Kenshin tapped on his palm. This guy is like Kakashi, and I fell for the same fight crap again. They both took 30 steps back. Start. But unlike Kakashi, he didn't disappear. He ran forward just like Naruto and made a half-tiger hand seal. Just then, Naruto felt freedom in his movements. His seal was deactivated for the fight. Still, Kenshin wasn't afraid of a little speed increase. He charged. Somehow, to Kenshin's surprise, Naruto was actually connecting blows with him, but not effectively. His taijutsu was barbaric and his stance was even worse. He was taking notes on how to improve his skills. So, I'll teach him the Guardian and Warrior Dragon Fang styles, emotion control due to his brash nature, and get him adjusted to his speed. 10 minutes later, the two were still fight, both 30 feet away from each other. Again they both ran, but this time, Kenshin slid under Naruto's legs, pushed himself up with his arm, and held his neck by his index finger and thumb. If you want to keep your body for thrashing out of control for the next hour, I suggest you back down, Naruto. Naruto did just that. Good, that wasn't to see just your improvement but also your skills. Now I can properly train you, so you better brace yourself for hell. More like a quarter hell. Wait until he gets training from Kushina and Kyubi. Konoha. Tsunade was peacefully crying until she heard fireworks and laughter. She looked outside and saw disgust. The village was honoring Sasuke for killing the demon. It was out of her control now. The only way she could stop it was by creating earth fissures to destroy most all of the village. Then Jiraiya, Shizuan, Asuma, Kakashi, Kurenai, Guy, Anko, Ibiki, Ayam, Tichi, Team 8, Team 10, and Team 11 Lee, Niji, and Tenten joined the room and grieved for the loss. To the Villahea burden was gone. But really, Konoha's #1 unpredictable shinobi was gone. But to Tsunade, missing. But none of them could do anything about it. The next day, there was looking through the interrogation file results of Sasuke, who was currently hospitalized. For the prevention of paperwork, Inoichi just examined his mind. It wasn't the actions that mystified her. It was the brutal way he killed Naruto. Just as she was on the verge of tears, again, a red-haired man walked in front of Sasuke. Tsunade got a sketch of the picture. Could it be? Kenshin is alive. 3 months later, Sasuke was studying some old Uchiha scrolls to gain more power. Naruto was just a stepping stone. Eventually Itachi's time will come. He finally found Madara's personal jutsu scroll, so he began reading. Sasuke was just being a council-spoiled brat and bastard, power-hungry traitor, until a golden flame set ablaze his scroll, and from the flames came a yellow dragon the size of a cat and 4.3 feet long. Surprisingly, he spoke. "All right, I see you're busy and I hate you, so I'll make this quick. I am Rizoshi. You I would hurt, but I have a message for you from someone you may know of. What's up, team? Guess what? I'm a live faggot, and I'm coming back in 3 years with more power and strength than you could ever imagine. Want a hint? I'm learning the dragon arts. My teachers is Karawozi, the king of dragons. I hope you are ready, because in 3 years the Uchiha clan will be no more. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. P.S. Are you finally get that stick out of your ass, or will you trade it for a tree?" Sasuke crumpled the letter and yelled at Rizoshi. "I demand you and your master train me and bow down at me. How about no, jackass?" Rizoshi disappeared into the golden flame. It was 2 minutes later that Sasuke realized that the flame destroyed. "Damn you, dobe!" 2 figures walked through a dense forest. The first was 13, 5'7" and fit, had pure sun-kissed blonde hair, steel blue eyes and 3 whisker marks on his cheek. The blonde wore an orange muscle shirt, a black cloak with orange lining and the kanji for maelstrom on the back in red. On his back also were 2 regular 3-foot katanas. The other person was 6'7", muscular, had neck-length red hair, 3 diagonal scars on his face. He was dressed in a gray shirt with black lining, grayscale camo cargo pants, a white cloak with blue waves, and 2 large zanbatos. The pair were none other than Naruto Uzumaki and Kenshin Uzumaki. After 5 minutes of walking, the blonde spoke up. "How much longer, Aro Kenshi?" The redhead's eye twitched and he yelled at Naruto. "Don't call me that. It's your fault I slipped into the women's bath." 2 days prior, Naruto was testing some of his seals. At the time, he was developing a freeze seal. So while Kenshin was still changing, Naruto activated the seal, put a genjutsu on the no-frozen water, and hinged into a towel. Once Kenshin came in, he ran to the water, only to find he was foot skating on ice. Then he fell face first into the women's baths area or the hot springs. Damn, was it a painful beating. Naruto just smiled, remembering the memory. Suddenly both of the Uzumakis stopped in their tracks. Kenshin spoke up. "You sense the 12 bandits?" Naruto nodded and replied, "Yeah, they are 45 feet in front of us. Kurama's chakra infusion height my senses even more. The gleam from their weapons and stench gives them away. I got the ones on the right, you get the ones on the left." Both swordsmen continued until the bandits came out. One very brave or stupid thug spoke. "Give us your money, swords, and possessions and we might let you live." Naruto just laughed quietly and said in his demon voice, "If you want them, come get them." The thugs ran at the 2 swordsmen who separate. Naruto just brought out his 2 katana, jumped in the air, twisted his body by 90 degrees, and yelled as he approached the bandits at high speeds, "Dual demon wheel!" He started to rotate, and by the time the rogues realized that they were screwed, they had been chopped into 3 pieces. The first 4 had been cut, while the 5th was lacerated very deeply. Naruto's kenjutsu had cut many arteries and veins, including the pulmonary artery, all 3 carotids, both jugulars, the subclavian and axillary. He would die quickly in seconds. The last bandit started running, but found 2 blades at his neck. In a single movement and a slursh sound, he had been decapitated. Kenshin just stood as the thugs surrounded him and grinned. He quickly made 12 hand seals and yelled, "Uzumaki art! Shinigami jug dement!" The scarred swordsman revived memories of every sin the bandits had done. "I judge you guilty." The first thug ran at him, but Kenshin just slid between his legs like he did with Naruto. Except this time, he slammed his index and middle finger on the head of the bandit. He repeated to do the same with the rest of the bandits. Suddenly, the breathing of the 6 bandits started to increase and continued. One struggled to speak. "WW what did you do?" Kenshin just simply walked away with his nephew and spoke. "I hit your vagus nerve. It controls the body's heart rate and breathing. Your breathing will increase, and because your bodies cannot get all the oxygen you preciously need, eventually you will die of asphyxiation. The perfect death for rapists, murderers, and thieves." 3 hours later, Kenshin stopped in the middle of nowhere and yelled, "Phantom Seal Command, Deactivate. Suddenly Yuzushio was revealed and Kenshin just said, "Welcome to Yuzushio Naruto. Welcome home." While he gazed in awe, Naruto was tackled by two females. The first was in her mid-30s, 4 inches taller than Naruto, hip-length red hair and sea-green eyes. The second was almost a carbon copy of the first except she was 13, 2 inches shorter than Naruto, had blonde tips on her pure red shoulder-length hair, and 1 foot kodashi on her waist. When he got up he spoke, "Not to be rude but, who the hell are you?" The woman replied in a kind and sweet voice, "I am Kushina Uzumaki, your mother, and this is Masami, your twin sister." Both females started to cry with joy and a hint of sadness. Naruto was taken aback. "Ka-san? Masami Amuto?" Demonic chakra surrounded Naruto exactly like when he found out about Kenshin, except it was more intense. "Yuzushio. Ka-san, ne-san?" Naruto asked quietly. His cloak continued to the version 2 phase. Kushina and Masami never felt so frightened in their lives. Kenshin slowly reached into his pocket for the suppression tag. Then the cloak started to fade, and Naruto's demon features disappeared as he gained control. "Yes." Both of them simultaneously answered. All the three of them were crying. For Kami knows how long. It seemed like forever, but that was how long they had been apart. "Now enough of this drama. Tell me about your life in Konoha then. I will explain who you really are, Prince Naruto of the Whirlpool." A relieved and proud Kushina spoke. "Nizan, were you treated like a hero for keeping the village safe from the demon?" Masami inquired. "Masami, you couldn't be more wrong," stated Kenshin. Naruto could tell by Kushina's and Masami's faces that they didn't know of his childhood at all. He couldn't blame them. The only reason his uncle knew was because Naruto him on the way here, which explained his ruthlessness against the bandits. So Naruto clarified for them. "In Konoha I was starved, beaten, neglected, and despised just because I held the Kyuubi. Who isn't a bad person, it was a complicated. Not only that, but when Uncle Kenshin found me, I was badly beaten by my own teammate, Sasuke Uchiha. The so-called Demon Slayer and prodigal Uchiha survivor stabbed me with a Chidori. This left the two female Uzumaki fuming with rage. But nonetheless, they were happy beyond comprehension of Naruto being alive. Only them four knew because Kushina told Kenshin to secretly recover Naruto from Konoha. As soon as Kenshin learned of this, he was even more excited than Tsunade on Happy Hour. "Follow me," ordered Kushina as the Kenshin left to take a shower. But Masami stayed with Naruto. They followed Kushina to Naruto's room, if that was what you wanted to call it. It was bigger than the Hokage's central room. The room had a king-sized bed, 5 cases of shelves containing jutsu scrolls, fuinjutsu formulas, books, and other stationery. On the corner there was a desk which in front gave a very outstanding view of the village. But what surprised him was the 2 katanas that were similar to his, but completely blank, and the whirlpool headband which had the standard swirl. Masami left the room, which allowed Kushina to explain to Naruto how all this began in her life. "Now, I can explain to you my story." Konoha. Danzo was sitting in his root office having a normal day, until Sai informed him about discussing matters with him. Oh, did he really despise associating with him? It was immoral. But in the current situation, he was getting desperate. "You requested my assistance with an important matter." A figure covered by shadows spoke in a sinister voice. "So what can I do for you?" "I need you to find and kill Naruto Uzumaki," Danzo explained with his business. "And yes, it's true. Our plan to give the Uchiha the Mangekyo Sharingan failed." The mysterious figure emerged to the light, showing him as Orochimaru the Snake Sannin. "I hate getting my hands dirty, so I'll have my spies locate him then." His face went sadist. "Execute him and send his head to you." "Not necessary, but effective," informed the old war hawk. Uchiha District. Sasuke was pushing himself past his limits, when truthfully, in the past month, the only thing he gained from his training was better chakra control. Ever since Kakashi had abandoned him, it was more difficult due to being only taught by old Uchiha scrolls. Scrolls couldn't tell you if your stance was correct or how to perfect jutsu. Most of the strong Jonin respected and were friends with Naruto, so they denied training him. Plus, he spent 6 hours total making sure he wasn't tainted by Sakura's being. She would always come to his door dressed and acting like a whore. But it saw ridding her that was the challenge. For the worst, once Kakashi told him of Naruto holding back on his Rasengan, which Kakashi noticed by the lack of damage to Sasuke's body. Kakashi knew of their clash effects. They didn't match in results he had with Minato. However you gained power, I will take it from you, then kill you and Itachi. Nothing will prevent me from my goal. Not Konoha, not the Hokage, not Kakashi, and not even you. I will kill you. After his afternoon routine was completed, he found a scroll on his bed. He always left and read scrolls on his desk or outside. There was also a note attached. Sasuke Uchiha. These are some of my jutsu from my personal library. I believe you will use them well. If you need assistance on training, I will be in the Hokage building in room 215 from 9:30 a.m. to 5:15 p.m. Danzo Shimura. Finally, someone who recognized him as the elite he was in his view. Now he could gain power and kill all those who opposed him. He sneered greedily. Hyuga District. Life couldn't be so sappy for Hinata. Her love was gone, but she was treated like a princess. Even the Hyuga Council that used to belittle her gave her respect, some out of fear. But she couldn't let such thought cloud her focus. She swore to become strong in honor of Naruto. And currently, she was experimenting with her new Iwa Juken, Earth Gentle Fist, on a test dummy. What exploded from the impacts. She mentally growled. Damn it, not again. She picked up the now remains of the dummy and threw it into a pile with the 12 other on the side. Now, on her 13th try, she was attempting to control the chakra impacts from the earth affinity she had gained. Earth was solid and focused, the complete opposite of the Mizu Juken. Going for another try, a purple flame appeared, and from it a dragon 5 feet long and big as a cat emerged. Suddenly it spoke. My name is Hyomi. Do not be alarmed. I am to deliver a message for you on behalf of Naruto Uzumaki. On this information, Hinata perked up and asked, What is it? Please tell me. Hello, Hinata-chan. Do not worry. I am still alive. I was saved by my uncle, who told me of how you defended my honor and expressed your feelings. I have the same for you. I blindly followed Sakura for no reason, not acknowledging your interest. Sorry that I can't explain much right now, but we can discuss the details in 3 years. I'm sorry I can't right now. Until then, I will be training with my family. Also, your Iwa Juken is created for external attacks rather than internal. It is a surprise tactic against foes who would dare underestimate you. Ask Tsunade for training. She would be glad to make you her apprentice. Remember, I love you and always will. See you soon, my lavender princess. Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata started crying with tears of joy and relief, and blushed. He called her Hinata-chan and his lavender princess. Soon she would see Naruto again and took his advice for the Iwa Juken and Tsunade's training. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. I forgive you, and soon we will meet again. It's a promise of a lifetime. Hinata silently said to herself after Hyomi. Uzishio. I was a very brash and impatient girl when I was your age. During the fall of the old Uzishio, I was sent to Konoha as a symbol of trust. There I wanted to become Hokage and got stronger along the way. Unfortunately, I had a special type of chakra that Kumo was interested in. They kidnapped but about 1 mile away from the border your father saved me. Your father's name was Minato Namikaze. Years later, we got married and were expecting you. But there was a problem. I was the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki back then, and birth would weaken the seal. So during your birth, a man with an orange swirl mask somehow controlled the Kyuubi and forced it to rampage, which left your father no choice but to seal the Kyuubi inside you using the Reaper Death Seal, which at the time was an experimental Uzumaki Fuinjutsu. He died of the seal, and in the process, I also gave birth to Masami. Luckily, your uncle took her back to Uzishio. I died of blood loss, chakra exhaustion, and shock from the secondary birth. 2 years later, Kenshin correctly completed the Reaper Death Seal. Instead of taking the life of the user, it required the souls of 2 tainted humans, which is why I am alive, but according to Shinigami, it can only be used every 5 years. So after my revival, the Uzishio citizens took me as their leader. And here we are. It took Naruto 5 seconds to completely identify all of the information until, holy shit. Those Konoha bastards kept the truth from me. They will pay. Okay, so what now? Now, I will train you in the advanced Uzumaki arts. I assume Kenshin taught you the Guardian and Warrior Dragon Fang Taijutsu, taught you some Kenjutsu, and let you sign the dragon contract. Yeah, Kyubi gave me his fox contract and control over 5 of his tails. The next 4 will take a seal master to suppress his dark chakra. Naruto replied, informing his mother of the bond between Kyubi and Naruto. Lastly, follow me to the royal balcony, Kushina asked Naruto, which he did. And when he arrives, he saw all of the Uzishio citizens. Just then Kushina started her speech. People of the Whirlpool, I have great news. My son, who was believed to be dead, is alive and has returned to his home. All of the people started cheering. I give you, Prince Naruto Uzumaki Naruto of the Whirlpool. The crowd cheered even more as they saw Naruto. Most of the female population blushed, and war veterans and Jonins saluted back at him when he saluted to them, pledging his loyalty to his new home. Now, in his life begins a new chapter. 3 years later in the forest of the demon country. I'm in position. What about you, Masami? Said a tall blonde with a black trench coat with the kanji for golden maelstrom on the back of the coat. He stood 5 feet and 11 inches and wore black stealth cargo pants, black cotton shirt with the whirlpool design in the front. On his back were 2 standard 3-foot katanas with a dragon design on the hilt. The 2 communicated over radio comms. No, almost. You know I'm not as fast as you, Naruto, said a redhead about 5 feet and 7 inch in a blue battle kimono with a skirt and one sleeve torn away, and seal wrappings around her wrists. Think Kurinai's outfit just in, with a single-piece shirt without all the layers, and the whirlpool symbol on her back along with her a single 1.5-foot kodashi. Now I'm here. Focus, children. We have our mission from Priestess Shernan to wipe out the bandit camp, so wait for my mark. A tall red head with 3 diagonal scars running down his face. He wore a standard Jonin vest, but his one was black instead of the regular forest green ones. A gray shirt with black lining, and gray cargo pants with 1-foot kodashi on each thigh side, and a 4-foot zanbato with a silver edge and red on his back. 3, 2, 1, intercept. As soon as they got the signal from Kenshin, they all used summoning jutsu. Naruto summoned a dragon with golden and bronze-colored scales, about 10 feet long. Masami summoned a dragon with tangerine scales about 8 feet long, and Kenshin summoned a dragon with purple azure about 12 feet long. All the dragons were the size of cars. Hayomi, Rizoshi, Lamaki. The 3 Uzumaki said, "Burn!" While the dragons literally unleashed hellfire on the bandit camps, the 3 had been itching to kill and test out their new jutsu. With Naruto. This wasn't Naruto's first rodeo. He had killed before, tons in fact. But not for the thrill, instead for the justice of others whom he cared for. He made 7 hand seals and yelled, "Wind style, razor shockwave." A strong breeze pulsed and lacerated all of the surrounding goons. Most of the cuts, punctures, and slashes were deep enough to be painful and quick at the same time. One thug dropped a bingo book which Naruto picked up and read out loud on his profile. Name, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Family, Kushina Uzumaki the Death, Minato Namikaze the Yellow Flash, Masami Uzumaki the Crimson Wave. Age, 16, youngest S-class shinobi. This class, aka the Golden Maelstrom, Crimson Cyclone, Kyubi Reincarnation, Bloody Storm, Black Swordsman, Demon of the Whirlpool. Appearance, pure blonde hair, blue eyes with slits, 3 whisker marks on each cheek, 6'2", black cloak with golden maelstrom, kanji on the back, and 2 swords. Bloodline limits, pure dragon chakra and heaven's blessing. Other, Jinkyuriki of the Kyubi no Kitsune, loyalty to the hidden whirlpool village. Warning, Kaga-level chakra reserves, rapid regeneration, limitless stamina, Kyubi's dark chakra, Fuinjutsu master, Kenjusta master, and possesses Flying Thunder God seal. If found, our personal is not high A rank. Leave immediately, and pray you are not found. 2 billion Rio. Hey Kurama. They found out about my dragon chakra bloodline. How only Kushina, you, me, Masami, and Kenshin know about that. There are skilled sensor types in other villages. True. Remember when you freaked out when you found out you were a pure type? Flashback 3 years ago in Uzushio. Kushina needed to duel with Naruto to discover areas of improvement. Due to Kenshin training him, she could tell that he was fast, agile, and skilled in taijutsu and basic kenjutsu. So as the two came to a distance of 30 feet, Kushina spoke, "Naruto-kun, come at me. Brace yourself, Ka-san. I can't promise you keeping your flawless skin," Naruto taunted. They both ran at each other and drew their katanas, quickly exchanging blow at high speeds. Naruto jumped in the air, positioned his sword to the right side and his body 45 degrees to the left, and let chakra and gravity do the work. As he brought the blade down diagonally, he said, "Uzumaki art. Demon slash." The strangest thing happened. Kushina's katana broke cleanly like it was made of butter. While she was distracted, Naruto's shoe shined behind her, and suddenly he was glowing with pure white energy. Could it be? The sun-kissed blonde started to make a Rasengan in his right hand slash instead of the regular blue. This was silver in color. Rasengan, sorry about this, Ka-san. Wait, what the hell? Why is my Rasengan silver? Masami identifying Naruto's new chakra. She yelled, "Kaasan. Naruto needs an is a pure type." As soon as Kenshin heard this, he real-eased all of his gravity, weight, and resistance seals and dashed forward. Naruto has no idea of how powerful even a low-powered Rasengan with that chakra is. Kenshin made it in time and grabbed Naruto's hand and threw his angle at a nearby boulder about 6 feet tall and 7 feet wide, messing up his momentum. The impact annihilated the boulder instead of the usual swirled impact pattern. "What the hell? That was a low-powered Rasengan," exclaimed Naruto, who was severely confused. Kushina understood his confusion and explained for him. "Sochi, you have an amazing gift, the Uzumaki's dragon chakra, and in your case, pure, which is 5 times stronger than my dragon chakra. Only 6 people have ever contained it. You and I are the only ones left. Even a C-rank jutsu powered by dragon chakra has an A-rank effect. Soon, your body will tire out and adapt to the pure chakra, making it your default chakra. Mixed with your immense chakra capacity, you will be a force to reckon with." Kenshin also followed by informing the others of more that he had learned about Naruto while training him. Not just that Kushina-chan, but Naruto also contains Minato's heavenly blessing bloodline. Naruto, who were confused even further, were explained about it by Kenshin. The heavenly blessing is the bloodline limit of the Namikaze clan. It gives the user limitless stamina and eventually rapid chakra regeneration. Combined with Kyuubi's dark chakra, your pure chakra, the rapid cell regeneration, and speed, you are practically the perfect shinobi. Masami contains the heavenly blessing too. Naruto sputtered, spasmed, and celebrated. Oh, thank Kami for this. All she life his dream was to become the strongest shinobi so people could respect him and he could protect his precious people. And now he could. Flashback end. Masami was surrounded by thugs who said, "Once we kill the other 2, we are going to make you our personal toy like the others." This enraged her, causing her bloodthirst to increase drastically. These men defiled women. That was the last straw. Murder and robbery were one thing, but rape was final. So in her anger, she yelled her most brutal jutsu, water style, shark tsunami. Water came out of nowhere and started to flood the area. To top it all, she created chakra sharks to gore the bandits to death or painfully bled them to death. And the sadistic part was, it was salt water instead fresh water, so you know what they say about salt in a wound. The two were cowering in fear. A cowardly thug hid behind the other. "Hide me, boss." "So you're the leader, huh?" Masami practically asked, already knowing the answer. She drew her Kodashi Thunder Killer, pushed the leader out of the way and stabbed coward's throat. After dispelling their summons, Masami walked up to the leader with Naruto and Kenshin. They took a good look at what used to be bandit camp, now reduced to ashes, flames, and smoke. Masami told Naruto about the slaves. Instantly he emitted dark red chakra and sliced off the leader's hands, then cauterized it to prevent him from bleeding out. "Where are the slaves? Tell me, or what makes you a man is gone." Did he sing like a canary? In the end, Naruto thanked him, then sliced his head off. The 3 went to a hidden underground room where they found the slaves. "Don't worry, we are here to free you." Masami, I'm going to use the Flying Thunder God seal to teleport you home so you can get spare clothes for them. When you are done, tell Ka-san to teleport you back here. Why can't you? Do you want me going trough your clothes? Good point, even though he is my brother. Masami teleported away and came back in 5 minutes. So when the former slaves were fully clothed, Naruto teleported them all to Shinon's palace/temple. Pretty soon, the three were on their way back to Uzushio. Hey Kenshin, where were you the entire time? Hayomi-chan said you weren't on the battlefield. Masami asked, who was answered by her twin brother. He was reading Jiraiya's perverted book, quarter-mile west of the camp. Masami hit him with the hilt of her kodashi, which caused Kenshin to lose his balance and almost fall off of the tree branch he was jumping on. And to tease him even further, Masami commented, Naruto is right to call you Ero Kenshi. Damn you, Naruto, which Kenshin yelled at his nephew, who then argues with him about being truthful. Masami just giggled at their antics. Uzushio 2 hours later. As soon as Kushina saw the lump on Kenshin's head, she just had to ask, much to Kenshin's displeasure, what happened? Naruto and Masami simultaneously answered, Code J, E.N. I think out can find out what the J is for. Kenshin, can I please talk to you privately? The Uzukage requested in a bittersweet voice. Naruto and Masami decided to grab their pay and Shushin at least 100 feet away from the building. So they caught up with their friends in Uzushio. 3 years and you can make lots of friends. Especially when you actually aren't treated like vermin. Araku Hotoki was the first person to become friends with Naruto. Both were eating at a ramen stand that actually beat Ichiraku's. Naruto said that he was the fastest ramen eater in the world, which angered him. Naruto fought him and won. It seems they both had a void that they called a stomach. He was 5 feet and 9 inches, a bit chubby, with long brown hair and brown eyes, usually wearing a green armor vest with simple forest camo pants. The Hotoki clan used the oil and acid in their food to fuel their fire jutsu. But Araku's mother developed a way to use the oil, internally heat it up and use enzymes to create acid, and use chakra to manipulate it like water, after spilling it out of their mouth. Utake Hayabusa was the only person that could almost match Kushina and Naruto in Kenjutsu, except he used a thick 6.5 feet Zanbato, which was better used for powerful, heavy strikes. It was speed and agility that helped beat Utake. But then again, Naruto only studied Kenjutsu for 1 year the last time they fought, while Utake practiced for 9 years. He was 1 year older than Naruto, making him 17, and 14 when they fought. He had blue hair and a ponytail, 6 feet and 7 inches. He wore mostly black samurai armor with the whirlpool deasing on his shoulders and chest plate. His sword was located behind his waist. The last friend who knew well and vice versa was Sue Shiraishi. She was one of the village's best water release specialists, rivaling Masami, who could create water just like Tobarama Senju. She had a very kind personality. They bonded when Naruto saved her from a squadron of Kumo Anbu that mistook her for a rogue shinobi. Then 2 months later they were introduced again by Masami. She had a slender figure, with a reasonable bust, mint green hair that reached her upper back and orange eyes. Sue wore a 2-piece black battle outfit that was suitable for speed and swimming. After they took a warm shower to wash out blood, they met up with them. Hey Naruto-kun and Masami-san. How was the mission? Sue asked. Naruto answered for both of them and asked his own. Bloody, fun, and full of needed justice. I heard you guys are now a Chunin team. How was your first mission? Really boring. All we did was hunt some bears, hogs, and deer in the forest. No creature was skilled enough to give me a challenge. Utake answered. And it was no fact to them or anyone who knew Utake that he was always looking for strong and worthy opponents with honor. Naruto said he was a stable mix of Sasuke and Lee. You guys want to go swimming in the lake? It's good weather? Masami offered. Only as long as Naruto could catch and prepare trout. He is the best at cooking fish. All the spices and flavors blend perfectly. Akaru told them and everyone had to agree. It was a divine gift from Kami herself. Just as they were about to jump in, a ANBU appeared and told Naruto to report to the Uzukage's office. Kit, 2 things. 1, when you are done, I want to give you a gift. 2, the ANBU is checking you out. How do you know? I can smell the pheromones and you are shirtless. No vixen would stutter like that. I guess okay. Think later. Bye Kyubi. Alright Ka-san, what do you need? Naruto asked when he got in the office. Your swords, Kushina said. Naruto gave his swords to her. When she received them, Kushina walked into the balcony, threw them into the air, and destroyed them with a fire jutsu. Of course, Naruto started sputtering, until Kushina said, "Calm down. Here are your new katanas." She presented him with 2 new swords. These ones had a white hilt with a golden fabric and pure black blade with a golden dragon design. Both blades were about 3 feet and 7 inches, and when Naruto pumped his chakra into them, one caught on black fire, the other with black lightning. Demon's Bane, Kushina informed. These are cool and all, but why would you give these to me? The blonde inquired. Because the Jonin exams are next week, and Konoha Nin will arrive. I thought you might want to piss them off a bit, Kushina truthfully answered. Naruto thanked her and left. Naruto went to speak to Kyubi. Naruto's Mindscape. The Mindscaper was different now that Kyubi and Naruto had bonded. Instead of a sewer, it was now a luscious forest. Alright Kyubi, you wanted to talk? Yes. I want to give you a little gift. What is it? Kyubi then brought out a wicked-looking claymore that was pulsing with demonic chakra. The blade was silver with glowing gold kanji for Soul Redeemer, and the outline of the blade was blood red. The hilt was black with blood red fabric. Kyubi, why are you giving this to me? Because I am dying Kit. Naruto did and exited his mindscape. He had spent his entire life with Kurama. Whenever he was hurt, Kurama healed him. Whenever Naruto was lonely or sad, Kurama comforted him. There wasn't a minute where Kurama hadn't helped him. Don't worry Kurama-sensei. I will do all I can to save you. It is a debt I owe you. Uzushio, out of Naruto's mindscape. Alright guys, sorry about that. Naruto apologized. It was a matter with the Jonin exams. Naruto-Nizan, is that village coming to Uzushio? Masami questioned with venom at the mention of it. Do I really need to mention which village it is? Naruto nodded. Suddenly the temperature dropped around 15 degrees. None of the 5 felt it because they caused it. All of Uzushio knew of the treatment Naruto received. Sue couldn't believe of Konoha's ignorance. If you hadn't figured out about it being Konoha, you need to read more fanfics. Konoha couldn't tell the difference a scroll and a sealed kunai. But the Kyubi wasn't even evil. He was being controlled. Of course they were too blinded to even investigate. Akaru had more violent and angered thoughts that would betray the rating of the story. Let's just say it involves acid and kunais going up someplace it shouldn't. And that was being brief. Utake was taken aback by how blind the mighty Konoha could be. Naruto was a person pure of heart, honor, courage, determination, and a will to fight for those he wants to protect. The day they had betrayed him, they had sealed their fate. Don't worry Naruto-kun, those Konoha pigs will get what's coming for them, Sue told the Jinchuriki. Then Utake also told him, Sue-san is right. Those who with no honor and crimes against the innocent will have their price to pay. And in this case, they will pay dearly. Thank you. Now let's get this fish cooking water style. Reverse whirlpool. Naruto shouted. Making a whirlpool was basic, but creating a reverse one that literally created a cyclone pushing loads of fish out of the top was difficult. But a stable water-style user could have mastered it in about 4 to 6 weeks. It would be an easy target for Uchihas except of the use of nature chakra, which could not be copied. Uzumaki's mixed nature chakra and their own jutsu to prevent being copied and increase in strength. Soon enough, it was raining fish for 30 seconds, which causes plenty of fish to accessible. Naruto quickly used Flying Thunder God to teleport home and fetch his spices and tools. Then he began his magic. While Naruto roasted and prepared the fish, Utake, Masami, and Akaru gossiped and talked. They told each other a bit more than necessary due to the strong affects of Kumo's sake. Akaru had a crush on a girl called Tamayo Irazu. They were distinct cousins of the Nara, but had the opposite type abilities. The Irazu clan mainly controlled UV rays and combined them with chakra to literally control light. But there was an extent to their abilities. Just like the Nara, their abilities decreased in power after each long use. According to lore, the Nara were the defense of the clan and the Irazu were the offense before they were separated by the First Shinobi War. How the Uzushio works was that the village was created by the Uzumaki clan and then other clans joined due to the skill and freedom they were offered. And unlike other villages, they didn't believe in super soldiers, CRA, breeding, and clan importance. That was the catalyst of Uzushio. After all the spices were set, the fish was cut, and the shadow clones were dispelled. All of them thanked Kami for the food and bit into a little piece of heaven. The taste was spicy with lemon to give it a rare tangy taste, and the onion slices and leeks just made it better. Akaru never lied about when it came to how food tasted. After they were done, Naruto walked all of them home. Masami was exhausted mostly, so Naruto had a shadow clone take her home. True flying thunder god would be faster, but he didn't want to get lazy. They rest were sober enough to walk, while Sue was full out wasted. And those bottles were a gift from the Tazuna on his 14th birthday, much to Kushina's surprise and displeasure. It was a good thing Naruto didn't have a sake addiction or any at all. His ramen was almost depleted after realizing that ramen would stunt his training and reflexes. Anyways, Sue's aunt was on a mission. Her parents were killed when she was young in the water country. When they got home, she asked Naruto to stay for the night and make sure she doesn't do anything crazy or stupid. "All right, Sue, you go sleep in your room, and I'll sleep on the couch," Naruto informed his wasted friend. He took off his coat and shirt, then prepared to catch some ZZZs. After around 15 minutes, Sue came out of her room and drunkenly said, "The mattress is too soft. I need something firm but soft too." With that, she climbed on top of Naruto and fell asleep. Our blonde hero was blushing for around 6 minutes until he fell asleep himself too. Next morning, a scream woke up Naruto, and in a reflex he brought out a kunai under his pillow and held it to his attacker's throat. He found the person was a very blushed Sue wearing her green nightgown on top of a bare-chested Naruto. Thank Kami, Masmai and Kenshin weren't there. "You fell asleep on me, wasted more than the 5th Hokage. Then this happens," the embarrassed Uzumaki explained to the equally embarrassed Shiraishi. "Susu, I'll make breakfast and we never speak of this," Sue said, changing the subject. "Sure, I'll help, but only if you don't either, even when you are drunk or if possible drunker," the blonde joked. Sue responded by playfully sticking her tongue out. After walking home and 150 questions, 50 shades of red, and a pat on the back from Kenshin, he got a change of cloths and was studying seals to save Kurama from his forsaken fate. Naruto was getting close to a solution to save his sensei/friend until Masami ran in and said, "Ni-san, Konoha Nin are here for the exams." But what she didn't realize that Naruto had already left. Back with Naruto, he was too focused on seeing Hinata again to remember about the flying thunder god. He ran almost faster than the jutsu itself. Almost. Before he knew it, he came bumped into a girl the same height as Masami with dark lavender hair, a gray vest with a black band pouch around her waist, black boots, long navy socks, dark navy shorts, and a kunai pouch on her left side. Hinata's the last battle outfit. Google it. "Sorry about that. I'm in rush to see an old friend." Suddenly the stranger was hugging Naruto. He looked down to see the face of Hinata Hyuga, the heir of the Hyuga clan and his lavender princess. "Hinata-chan/Naruto-kun," the both simultaneously said softly. "Hello, Dobe," a arrogant voice said, that Naruto easily recognized. So he answered, "You traded that stick for a tree up your ass, didn't you, team?" Behind Sasuke was Kiba, Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, Sakura, Shino, and a mysterious pale boy with dark hair, clothes, and eyes. A pink-haired girl started screeching, "You can't talk to Sasuke-ku." She started only to be silenced by a glob of water shot in her mouth by Masami, who just recently shoe-shined. "How did you grow up with that banshee screaming all the time?" asked the female Uzumaki. "You better watch your mouth, you whore," replied Sakura as soon as she spit out all the salt water, only to be crossed by 2 swords. The first was one of Naruto's demon bane, the other was very larger due to it being a Zanbato 1.5 feet wide. Utake had appeared with Akaru and Sue. "The only whore here is you," Utake said. Everyone except Sasuke was either laughing or preventing from. When Sakura finally had enough courage to reply, he screamed, "Who do you think you are talking to, the heir of the Haruno clan? I am Masami Uzumaki. secondary heir and princess of Uzushio and known as A-rank Nin, the Crimson Wave. And by the way, the Haruno clan is just full of useless merchants. Everyone paled. They all knew of her ruthlessness to those she opposed. Whereas Sasuke was interested in her strength and beauty. She could bear her with strong Uchiha spawn, and he would control Uzushio. After learning of its return, he researched about its power, and thought by learning the clan's secrets he would be able to become unstoppable. So he was stupid enough to say, "Come with me back to Konoha. There is much I can give you there," only to be chakra slapped by Naruto, whose chakra released Jinjutsu revealing his blue slit eyes, more defined whiskers, and sharper nails. "Don't you dare say that to my sister." Everyone who didn't know gasped in surprise except Froshino, who remained stoic. Sasuke surprising started sputtering. "Bibi, but Tita means you are the..." "Yeah, primary heir to Uzushio, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Prince of the Whirlpool, and as an extra the Golden Maelstrom, Crimson Cyclone, Black Swordsman, and Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi," Naruto clarified to his former teammates. "So what? I'm still gonna kick your ass just like 3 years ago. Team, we both know that I was seriously holding back. If you want we can see in the exams on who is stronger, me or you." Sasuke walked away, and Sakura turned to Naruto and his new friends to speak, but, "Haruno, you say one word and I personally promise you that you will not walk for the rest of your life." With that, she blindly followed Sasuke like a lost puppy. Everyone was silent after Sasuke and Sakura left until Akaru spoke. "So anyone wants something to eat? Naruto is literally a killer chef and I know good restaurants." All the Konoha nin's stomachs growled like Kyuubi. After all, the journey to Konoha to Uzushio is pretty long. "Yes." All of them agreed, mainly a certain Akimichi. "So Naruto, how did you survive?" Shikamaru curiously asked. Naruto simply said, "You will find out soon." Shikamaru just muttered the Nara troublesome. Ino also asked, being her curious and straightforward self, "How do you look so hot, and when did you learn to use a sword?" "Thank you, Ino. I have been using a sword for 3 years and 7 months. And the answer to the first question, well, I train a lot." The group continued to ask Naruto similar questions. He said cryptic answers in return. Kurama warned him about the new guy, whose name was Sai. He replaced Naruto's position after his disappearance. Apparently, Kakashi abandoned Sasuke, who was later trained by Danzo. Anko trained Ino, which made her a better interrogator. Hinata was trained by Tsunade thanks to Naruto, and she eventually mastered both of her affinity Jukin. Sakura demanded to be Tsunade's subordinate and also trained by Kurenai so she could impress Sasuke. Most of the clan heirs were taught family jutsus, except for Kiba, who was trained under Kakashi for his strange lighting affinity. Usually Inuzukas had earth, but Kiba was considered and inherited his father's affinity, because technically he was never part of the Inuzuka clan. Also embarrassingly, Sasuke had only had his Chunin rank for barely a year because Tsunin forbid him from joining any Chunin exams, until the civilian council got in the way again. After another hour, the remaining Konoha 12 left, and Uzushio Nins went to bed, sober this time. Jonin exam building. Naruto wasn't mad, he was just severely disappointed to the level of anger. Instead of the forest scroll retrieval, they had to do an obstacle course. The third member of Naruto's team arrived. He was out for a few days because he was sick with some disease called Ebolo or something. Ryu Waraswa, according to Kushina, was the village's top Jinjutsu user. Their last teammate died 2 years ago from an ambush by IWA Anbu trying to capture Naruto. It was at his death, Kurama's dark chakra and Naruto's pure chakra somehow fused to create Chaos Chakra, with its own type of jutsu with limitless possibilities. Kurama said it could become a bloodline. After the death of his friend, he formed into Kurama's version 1 cloak, except the color was shifting between a fade silver, dark purple, and black. After goring the squads to death, he shredded the leader's legs with a Chaos Rasengan, then told him to crawl back and tell him what would happen if IWA tried again. But like all exams, there was always a written portion. Much to Naruto's annoyance. But this situation gave him a chance to use Dark Chakra to scare off the weaklings. And maybe as a bonus, the Proctor too. He focused then released Ki with Chakra. Sure enough, it did have the result he was looking for. This was his home, so he made sure it didn't harm anyone but still scare them. But he could see from 2 rows away, while a team was leaving, A janitor was cleaning a certain puddle. Naruto glanced at Sasuke's face and saw a look of shock plus horror. Now Naruto wasn't a sadist, but it was funny and pleasurable to him. Finally, the fun part had arrived. He may not be the best in class, which he was given a proper education and now practically was, but on the battlefield he was a cyclone, as they say. When the remaining 30 teams got to the area, they saw 2 obstacle courses with the same obstacles and traps. They would be judged by 3 people on either intelligence, speed, or effective. Hinata went against a grass Nin and easily won due to her Byakugan. Sakura struggled against Ryu, but both won. I had her win so I could have someone beat her up in the prelim. Spoiler. Long story short, everyone won regularly except for Choji, who used his meat tank jutsu to roll past and destroy everything. Sasuke had set a record time of 10 seconds by Naruto 3 years ago, which he bragged to him about. When it was Naruto's turn, he just threw a kunai through the mess of metal traps and used the Flying Thunder God jutsu to teleport to the end in 2 seconds, mystifying everyone, and causing a certain raven-headed traitor fume with jealousy and anger. So team, can you beat that, or is it that the great Uchihas have no skill or capability for Fuinjutsu? Naruto said, which agitated Sasuke even further. Sasuke was about to say his comeback until a voice of authority spoke. According to the Uzumaki, a preliminary round will be executed due to the number of candidates for each present exam. The board will randomly select 2 candidates who must duel. Taijutsu is recommended, but Genjutsu and Ninjutsu are also allowed. No jutsu above low A rank level will be allowed. No killing will be implemented. Any who do not undergo these rules will be charged with assault crimes and terminated immediately from the exams. Do you agree? Every single Chunin competing said yes with a large amount of bloodlust. The only thing Naruto thought at that moment was, now the fun can begin. Chapter end. Just so you know, this is strictly a Naruhina, so now Naruharem. But later on, I might make a personal remake. I have been trying to type long good chapter with school and exams, but it isn't easy. But for you guys, I will try my best. Also, I have candidates for who will beat up Sakura in the prelims. There will be vote. That will end in 5 days. Hinata versus Sakura. Masmai versus Sakura. Taimo versus Sakura. Naruto versus Sakura. And if there will be a large amount of action in the next couple chapters. Maybe enough for 2-part chapters. In case you are wondering, I am planning a sequel soon after a story or 2. If you have any questions, comments, or compliments, the review button is on the bottom. Gave a good night or day. Until next time. Chapter begin. Finally, the fun can begin. What do you think, Kurama? Kit, you're starting to scare me. The teams were taken to a much larger room. It was almost like an arena, except it was indoors. The arena was separated into 2 floors. The top was for spectators and other combatants to watch, and the bottom was for the fighters. It had a stone flooring with several rocks to hide behind. On the top right was giant bulk board that displayed the fighter's name, photo, age, village, and the winner, if any. The teams jumped out of the battlefield. Just then a tall man with red hair and 3 diagonal scars cyclone shoe shined into the room and spoke. My name is Kenshin Uzumaki, and I will be the proctor for the preliminary and final round. Shikamaru Team 10 was on the left, followed by Hinata's Team 8, which was near Naruto's Team 9, which was followed by Sue's Team 6, then Tamayo's Team 5. The farthest was Sasuke's Team 7. The Combatant Selection Board, CSB, started to randomize, then stop on Akaru Hotuki of the Whirlpool and Zakai Varuko of the Mist. Both shinobi jumped onto the field. Hajime, Kenshin spoke. Zakai charged forward, preparing hand seals, hidden mist jutsu. Zakai took this time to attach explosive tags on his kunai, but after he prepared 2 tags, he heard his opponent yell, fire style. Searing smog. A dark gray smog started to cover around the area. Akaru jumped, then clicked his tongue, setting of the smog to explode. When the smoke recovered, Zenkai had minor burns on his arms, legs, and back. Some of his clothes were singed, but he was still able to throw his 2 kunai. Akaru barely managed to complete the 8 seals for acid style, corrosive bullet, which effectively melted the tags and kunai. Zenkai blacked out from the burns, which were started to blister even further. Winner, Akaru Hotuki. Kenshin announced as the medic hurried to stabilize Zenkai. Akaru went back to his and Naruto's team. Naruto started to congratulate him. Hey Akaru, nice tactic. You managed to release the mist and smoke him. I must agree with Naruto-san. Your effectiveness is unmatched. You take. Stop talking like a poet and just tell Akaru-san he did good. After the ashes were cleaned up by a quick water jutsu, the next round was ready. The board once again randomized then landed on Ryu Wajiroi of the Whirlpool and Sasuke Uchiha of Konoha. The two fighters arrived at the floor ready for an all-out brawl. Hajime! The Uchiha quickly made hand seals for around 0.3 seconds. A certain jutsu name was yelled, Summoning Jutsu. A giant hawk with black and gray feathers with a red beak appeared. Then Sasuke told the hawk, Levizu, Combo 1, yes Sasuke-sama. The dark-colored bird flew up into the air, and starting doing a barrel roll midway Levizu's feathers hardened into metal? A living bird made of metal. This certainly was intriguing even for Naruto who had a 90,000-year-old fox demon in his stomach. Just when the crowd thought it was over, Sasuke used fire style, phoenix flower on the hawk. But except of catching on fire, the fire burned on the skin without injuring Levizu. Sasuke called it the pyro drill. But Ryu was no fool. He was friends with Naruto, so he knew all about the great Uchiha. He also knew he couldn't see through his opponent's Genjutsu without his Sharingan active. Due to that conclusion, when the blazing bird hit Ryu, his figure just waved out of existence. Ryu had outsmarted Sasuke's ego using a simple academy clone. It was fortunate for Ryu that the pyro drill was only a one-shot limit, due to the impact dispelling the summon. Sasuke taunted as a repercussion from his embarrassment. Pathetic! You hide behind illusions like a coward. But the Uchiha was a hypocrite. He came from a clan that centered on Genjutsu. Of course, no one in Konoha would ever argue. Even from the insult, Ryu didn't bat an eyelash or taunt back. It was as if he was mute. Sasuke ran forward, armed with a kunai, attempting slash at him and then put him under a Genjutsu so he would pass out from blood loss. However, nothing as such happened. The boy was using a strange taijutsu for countering his movements and pushing him back. And when Ryu had enough distance, he made 15 one-handed seals for 9 levels of hell. Level 1. Unlike other Genjutsu, this actually caused physical injuries based on the applied level. No human could survive past level 4. As the Genjutsu was cast, Sasuke was tied to a wooden post and tortured the person he hated the most, Itachi Uchiha. Even though his injuries weren't serious, they still hurt. The Uchiha barely managed to dispel the Genjutsu thanks to the Sharingan. When he did, Ryu was vulnerable, so he ran to him with his family Uchiha Interceptor Taijutsu. The result was a battered, but walking Waraswa. So Kenshin announced the winner. Winner Sasuke Uchiha. A shrill of a single fangirl cry was heard. Oh, the temptation for Hinata to just fight her, and hint, hint. Otherwise, there were a few quiet claps. Ryu returned to his team. Naruto gave him a pat on the back for his hard work. Mastering a demon Genjutsu from the Kyuubi himself was not easy, especially when the user wasn't half demon. To answer to what Naruto said, Ryu just made several hand signs. Yes, Ryu Waruyo was mute. Of course, sign language was a skill Naruto learned when he met Ryu. The matches continued. Again, Ino's match with a very sensitive Rain Nin was a tie. Shino barely won his match, almost all of his chakra gone. Most of the Konoha teams matched ended in ties, even a few in wins. But otherwise only Sasuke and Shino had won. Finally, an exciting match happened when the CEB selected Kiba Inuzuka of Konoha and Yutake Hayabusa of Uzushio. Both combatants prepared and got in their respective stances. Kiba with Akamaru and Yutake with his mortal wrath Zanbato. Bark, 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 bark. Akamaru told Kiba from his bark. The only people who could understand was Kiba, being from the Inuzuka clan, and Naruto due to him being able to understand the canine language because of his fox summons. Basically, Akamaru told his master that Yutake was a very strong opponent and he needed soldier pills just in case. It's best if I stay away from close-range combat. He's got a huge sword and it seems like he's not afraid nor unprepared to use it, Kiba thought. Kakashi had trained him well enough to partially stop his brash attitude and focus. Kiba weaved, that is the correct term for making hand seals, several hand seals and yelled, lightning style, wolf scale. Static electricity surrounded Kiba, which only meant it was for a combo jutsu. Ready, Akamaru? Bark? Thunder tunneling Fong. With that, his speed almost doubled as he approached Utake, who just stood there at high speeds. Utake continued to stand there until, Earth-style, Terra Trap. As Kiba and Akamaru approached, they were swallowed by a giant dome of rock and earth. Everybody in the audience sweat dropped and anime fell when Utake just sat down and started to polish his mortal wrath Zanbato. After a continuous string of SOBs, Mother and *#S, Bastard, and Tunneling Fangs, Kiba finally escaped, and barely in time. What the hell? The entire time he was polishing his sword, Kiba thought. Akamaru told his master it was time for his special move. The Inuzuka just fist-bumped one fist to the other, and 3, 4-inch claws popped out. Imagine Wolverine's adamantium claws, except they come out of a gauntlet instead of his skin. He charged at Utake and weaved 6 hand seals that only Naruto and Sasuke recognized. Next thing the crowd knew, Kiba had created a stable Chidori, but it had a claw shape to it. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. Trident Chidori, Kiba exclaimed as he yelled and ran forward. In the midst of the excitement, Kiba was surrounded by lightning, increasing his speed even further. Utake saw this and brought out his large Zanbato to counter his Justu. Both shinobi struggled against the force of their attacks. Then, to finish the long battle, the Hayabusa ducked with his sword and slammed the flat side like a baseball bat. It was an unorthodox but effective move. Kiba was out cold on the ground with a few broken bones at the most. You were a worthy challenge, Inuzuka-san, Utake told the unconscious boy. Kenshin announced the winner. The medics scurried to tend to Kiba and a worried Akamaru. Utake sushined back to his and Naruto's team. When Sue asked him what was with Kiba being surrounded by lightning, truthfully, Utake had no clue. Naruto saved the day and answered for him. That was built-up static electricity and his own bioelectricity. Kiba's wolf scale charged up his electric affinity for a later jutsu, which turned out to supercharge his trident Chidori. Masami finished for her brother. Kurama, it seems like Kakashi trained Kiba. And pretty well, if I may say. I agree, Kit. He made a good choice to ditch that power-hungry bastard. But just be careful. There may be more to the old Konoha 12 than meets the eye. Indeed. And that the way I like it. Chapter 8 end. Sorry, I couldn't upload Chapter 8 yesterday. Antibiotics can only do so much. And speaking of so much, thank you guys and girls for getting me past 100 follows and favorites. And the next chapter will have 2 superses. Hinata versus Sukiwa, thank you Hinatalicious for the nickname, and the return of a guest. Slow, I will write an AU fanfic involving modern elements along with a sequel to this story. Thank you, have a good night. Review or PM. Chapter 9, Preliminary Rounds and Family Reunion. Indeed, and that's the way I like it. All right, enough chatter, Kenshin yelled. The CSB started to randomize and landed on the next combatants. May Hinata Hyuga of Konoha and Sakura Haruno of Konoha please come down for the next fight. A.N. It is the moment you have been waiting for. Both fighters arrived. One lavender-haired mainly came faster than the other. Kenshin could tell by her chakra intensity, this would be personal and possibly bloody. Whatever Hinata had planned. Hell hath no fury like an angry Hyuga scorned. Are you ready, you Hyuga whore? Sakura taunted. She still thinks she, a shinobi wannabe, could beat a self-trained Hyuga prodigy. But Hinata was focused and never let anger cloud her judgment. She used it to her advantage. So, using her revengeful attitude, she would throw Sakura by insulting her and her, Sasuke-kun. Come at me if you can, Sakura. Of course the pink-haired Haruno took the bait and charged forward with a kunai, attempting to slash or stab Hinata. The Hyuga adjusted herself into her Mizu Juken internally counter her attacks while have accurate attacks of her own. Attacks with accuracy, precision, and pain, internal. As soon as Sakura was in her range, she countered.
2 hits, 4 hits, 8 hits, 16 hits, 32 hits.
Hinata would have done 128 hits, but that would be too quick of a punishment. You like that, you pink slut? Well, there is more in store for you. Sakura spit blood at Hinata's foot. Good. She has internal bleeding. Most likely mild from the amount of blood. Is that it? You are just going stop. Would you ever stop hurting Naruto-kun like you did years ago? The realization hit Sakura. The only reason Hinata became her friend was because so she could eventually get revenge on her. You bitch, you always loved that demon from the beginning. You were never my friend, were you? I even thought about sharing Sasuke-kun with you, so he could revive the Uchiha clan. Sakura yelled at Hinata, getting up, her eyes fuming, but her emotions were of an ant compared to the ki Hinata was releasing. Don't you ever call Naruto a demon, or say that I will ever be with that Uchiha treasure. The angered Hyuga yelled, clarifying her anger at the pink-haired girl and present clan member. Hinata got into the Hyuga Juken stance and charged at Sakura at speeds to make Guy jealous. She hit her all of her tenketsu in less than 10 seconds, 2 hits, 4 hits, 8 hits, 18 hits, 32 hits, 64 hits, 128 hits, 8 trigrams. Chakra judgment. All of the places where she hit her tenketsu started to glow red and cross-connect. Sakura was put into a large amount of pain from the hits, and now the glows burned enormously. Take that, bitch, and now a little extra. Hinata hit her lower stomach with both her water and earth chakra. The effect pushed her back to the wall and blood began to pour from her mouth. The winner was clear. Winner, Hinata Hyuga. The crowd clapped instantly. Some out of fear, some out of amazement, and others out of pure gratitude. Hinata jumped back to Naruto. Hinata-chan, that was amazing. He began to praise like a princess, because in his eyes, she was. Hinata blushed more darker shades as Naruto continued. Kiba interrupted and asked, "Why did you hit her stomach at the end?" "I studied medical ninjutsu, chakra control, and anatomy with Tsunade, and by combining both my Mizu and Iwa Juken strikes, I left her womb barren." Everyone started to laugh like there was no tomorrow. Sakura always bragged about becoming Sasuke's wife and bearing his children, and now she couldn't. Said girl was currently being hauled away for severe blood loss from internal bleeding, a fractured spine, a large amount of broken bones, a broken jaw, and possibly mental therapy. As she was scurried away by medics, Masami asked, "Couldn't you have done the same effect with your Mizu Juken? What's the fun in just giving her internal damage?" With that, Naruto gave her a kiss on her forehead. The result was her creating a new blush shade and passing out. Same old Hinata-chan. Kit, you're up. He needs to focus more on the outside world other than his mindscape. Thanks, Karama. Kenshin called out HTE next two combatants. May Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze of Yuzushio and Yuaku Kaori * of Kiri please come down to area for the next fight. Both fighters arrived, but something was off about Naruto's opponent. She had a strange scent to her, a pleasant one, but strange. What else was strange was her battle outfit, if that was what you wanted to call it. Yuaku was around 17, with dirt blonde hair, hazel eyes, and wore a two-piece, navy blue, skin-tight suit, which revealed all of her feminine curves well. Imagine Zero Suit Samus. Kenshin began the match. Begin! The moment the match began, Yuaku made a tiger seal. Suddenly, Naruto smelled a strong, pleasant scent. Another thing was that his heart was pumping and his opponent was very appealing to him. Kit, snap out of it. Stop smelling from your nose and do what I tell you. The nine-tailed fox gave Naruto instructions. He began to stagger to his opponent. She pulled his face close to hers, and when they were close enough, Yuaku had a kunai ready. 3, 2, 1 inch. She went for the stab, but the blonde boy caught her hand and spoke. I see. You use jutsu that controls a person's pheromones against them to put them into a trance. Clever, but it relies on scent only. Naruto touched one of the seals on his arm, which only appeared when chakra was applied, and pulled out one of the demon's bane. Now you can retaliate and I skewer you, or you can give up the match and I don't spend time cleaning blood of my sword. Naruto told the hazel-eyed girl. Proctor, I forfeit. As Naruto returned, he was congratulated by all of his friends. Nice one, Nei-san / good strategy, Naruto-san / good tactics, Naruto-kun. 65 minutes later. The compliments continued. Pretty soon the matches were finished. More ties than wins. At the end, Kenshin announced, All right, great prelims. You will find out your opponents for the final round tomorrow. Then you will have 1 month to train. Have a good day. The red-headed proctor disappeared in a swirl of water. So Hinata-chan, was wondering if you would like to go on a shush. I would love to. Pick me up tonight at 8:35.
Okay. Bue Hinata-tian. Bue Naru-kun.
As soon as Hinata went back to her hotel, Naruto was jumping up and down, constantly saying, "I got a date with Hinata," in a sing-song voice. But his celebration was interrupted by Kenshin. "Naruto, your Ka-san wants to see you right now." Naruto followed his scarred uncle to the Uzumaki building with Masami, where his Ka-san's shadow clones were doing the paperwork for her. Oh, how perfect and simple it was. "Naruto, there is something that all of us need to show you. We will have to take it outside." The family of Uzumaki Shushine training field. Kenshin had a strange white and sliver-ornate gauntlet and dagger. He simply spoke, "Verto." He struck the dagger through the opening on the gauntlet. A symbol glowed. A circle with rune symbols surrounded Kenshin. An armored figure shadowed behind him and fused with him. When the energy surge was done, in Kenshin's place stood a 7-meter knight with white and blue armor, a large shield and sword. "What the hell?" Naruto and Masami both yelled at the same time. Don't worry, that is Kenshin's night whistle. The Uzumaki clan is special not only because of their art of fuinjutsu, kenjutsu, or lifespan, but also the ability to become pact makers. Whenever a new Uzumaki comes of worthiness, a new item appears at the Uzushio altar. Then we fuse with these knights if they accept us, and we are allowed to use their power. And it is time for you and Masami to choose your own knights. "Ka-san, which ones do we get?" Masami excitedly inquired. Kushina answered, "For you, Masami, you have been chosen by Divina's the Black Knighter Abanwings. Grab the sword and repeat after me. But before you do, take around 30 steps back." Masami did as she was told and repeat what Kushina told her. She began to chant, "O Denivas, deliverer of dark and dread, ruler of the ancient shadow, grant me your power. Verto." Masami was surrounded by black energy from the large black sword. Soon a 5.8-meter figure emerged. It was feminine character in black armor, wings with black feathers, a decent bust size, and slender body shape. Her head was of a hawk and the sword she held was crossed between a lance and a blade. "Cool." The figure spoke with a light, but ancient, echoish voice. "Now to turn back, just think of your human form," Kenshin told her. In a small burst of dark energy she was back to normal. "And me?" Naruto asked partially with impatience. "For you, Sochi, Larvain the Dragon Knight. Grab the belt, throw it in the air and chat what I tell you." Naruto did. "O Larvain, Vermilion Drake, leveler of ancient lands, grant me your power. Verto." The belt fastened to Naruto's waist perfectly and started to glow sea green. A rune circle appeared around Naruto as he transformed into his knight. Suddenly, a dark gray warrior with wings and a trident appeared. His eyes were emerald green. The knight had a very muscular build. His trident was 9 meters long, and the middle was a 2.5-meter blade, making it longer than the other spears. "Epic!" spoke Naruto with the same ancient echo voice. He turned back into human form. "Now that the knight part has been explained, I have a second thing to tell you," Kushina told her 2 kids. "What is it, Ka-san?" "Remember how the Reaper Death Seal works only every 5 years. Of course, that's why you are here. Well, tomorrow marks 5 years, and tomorrow is the day your father, Minato Namikaze, will return." Chapter 9 end. Well, what do you think? Was the White Knight Chronicles over good? Because I think it's perfect. I put a transformation link in my profile if you want to check it out. Also, I may be late with other chapters. My grades are becoming Bs, so I have to increase them. And I also am going through a Counter-Strike phase. I hate the 7-day ban thing. It's really stupid. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. I discovered LibreOffice, so I can now type without needing Wi-Fi. I'll get the next chapter with Naruto's date, Minato's return, and the final exams. Konoha, Root Base. Danzo was having another day of being a good old covert warmonger who blames peace for his actions and filing paperwork. How Tsunade deals with this torture called paperwork, I will never know. So now he shows up his face. "You can come out of the shadows, Orochimaru." "How did you know I was there? I have an ANBU level suppression seal." Orochimaru inquired. Danzo simply answered the obvious. Your chakra and how twisted it is. But enough of that, we had an agreement. You give me the Kyuubi and I give you Sasuke. Orochimaru had the darkest soul for a human, Eren. Not really. They do not know of Naruto. Chakra is represented by the color. The snake Sanin's was purple, whereas other people's was green or blue. Those pure of heart were white. There was a myth of certain strong individuals who survived through the worst experiences and remained sane and good. They were blessed with silver chakra, and he believes that Naruto has it. Orochimaru just chuckled evilly and answered, well, that brat was difficult to find, but I received information 2 hours ago on his location. In those 3 years, he was most likely training to get stronger. Would you want a weak, untrained weapon or a strong, elite one? Danzo was taken aback. He used his tactic against him. Fine, but do not fail me next time. When will you retrieve him? Give me 1 month, Orochimaru replied. He could see the confusion in his face. Listen carefully. This is what I have planned. Hokage building. Just another day of being Tsunade, sake and the damned paperwork. Era Weawind finished. I deserve more sake, Tsunade thought as she opened another bottle. She brought tea bottle to her lips until the flooring in front of her cracked and a tree emerged. Inside the tree was a green and brown fox with yellow slit eyes. The fox astonishingly spoke. My name is Mori. Do not be alarmed. I am not here to harm you. Instead, I was asked by my master to deliver a message on behalf of the Uzumaki. The female Hokage unlatched the container on the side of his collar and read the scroll. A smile that rivaled Naruto appeared on the Fire Shadow's face. She told her answer to Mori, tell Uzumaki Dano, I accept. You were always a genius, Kushina, just like Minato and Naruto. Uzushio. When is Tusan coming back? Masami asked in joyful tears. Kenshin replied, tomorrow at 10:25 p.m. All right, enough crying. I didn't raise my children to cry during every happy moment. So Naruto, I heard you met a certain Hyuga. Kushina teased her son. Naruto nervously replied, oh, ha 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 ha. About that, can we discuss at dinner? Sure. I'll help you cook, while Kenshin and Masami set the table. But before you do, I recommend you take a shower. The Uzumaki family got bathed, prepared the table, cooked, and began to eat. The silence was broken by Naruto keeping his promise. So after the preliminary round, I asked Hinata Hyuga. As soon as Naruto said that, Masami, Kenshin, and Kushina spit out their drinks. Hinata Hyuga on a date, which is at 8:35. They couldn't believe it. Naruto had got a date with the Hyuga heiress, the girl he had admired secretly for 16 years. After Kenshin was done pounding his chest, he couldn't be any prouder. Naruto, my boy, I am so proud of you. So Ne-san, when's the wedding? The female teen Uzumaki teased/asked. Kushina encouraged her daughter's teasing. I agree. When will I have grandbabies? Naruto couldn't take it anymore. It was even worse than him and Sue. Yeah, bye. The blonde disappeared in a yellow blur, and the next thing they knew a room door was locked. This left the rest eating and talking without Naruto. The situation left Kushina only thinking one thing, just like Minato-kun. Naruto's room. After the blonde Jinchuriki moved into his new room 3 years ago, he made a lot of changes. The major one was him actually keeping it clean, half of the room being full of weapons and the other half with teen stuff. After locking the door, he just plopped down into his chair. His desk was full of his father's, grandfather's, and great-aunt Mito's notes on ceiling. The notes were about saving the Kurama, demonic Fuinjutsu, and advanced Fuinjutsu. In the past 2 days, he had got nowhere. It seems crazy, but usually he could solve any Fuinjutsu in several hours. It was in his blood after all. Damn, 2 days and nothing. How can I protect my family when I can't even save my best friend? He started to tear up, not cry, just tears of sadness. Don't worry, Kit, I will be all right. Don't give me that bullshit Kurama. You know, after your chakra fades, it will 900 years for you to reform. I've read enough lore to know that it takes 100 years per tale when their chakra completely fades. I can't save you. God damn it. Naruto yelled at Kyuubi mentally. in spite of emotions of loss, not anger. Kurama understood his container and best friend better than anyone, so he was not mad. Trust me, Naruto, you will think of something. How do you know? Because it's in your blood. You are stubborn and relentless from your mother, skilled and caring for all life like your father. Naruto was left aghast. The fox's words gave him determination like none before. I am sorry, Kurama. Now let's do this. The blonde continued to study and test hundreds of other seals. He fell asleep with his face literally buried in ink, paper, and notes. This boy, Kurama started chuckling at his attitude. He will become an even greater than Minato. Next morning. Yonug, what the hell? Naruto found ink dried all over his face and hands. Perfect. I fall asleep on ink for 10 hours. I wonder how many hours it will take to wash it out. 2.5 hours. Kit, Kurama chuckled when Naruto mumbled, smart as fox. Naruto got up and walked to the bathroom to brush and prepare for the day. Everything was going fine until Naruto noticed the sun's position from the window and asked Kenshin the time. Hey Aro Kenshi, what time is it? The sun is fading. Isn't it 1:26? Kenshin twitched his eye at the nickname. Don't call me that, brat. And for your information, it's actually 6:26 p.m. OSHIT. My date with Hinata-chan is in 2 hours, and I still have INK on my face. Thank you, Aro Kenshi. After ignoring the damn you Naruto being yelled at him, he created 2 shadow clones to help clean his face, 5 to pick out his clothes, and 4 to buy cologne, call in a favor for the restaurant, and create a gift for Hinata. When Naruto was done, his hair was slicked back but still spiky. His suit consisted of a white cotton dress shirt, a velvet tie with a partial swirl design, black dress pants with a genjutsu for his kunai pouch, and a pure black jacket with golden cufflinks in the design of a fox head. Damn, not bad. What do you think, Kurama? I couldn't agree more. As Naruto walked past the Uzushio civilian population to the Golden Garden, he got a lot of approving looks and blushes from the locals, mainly from the female population. The same was for Hinata coming from the male population. They were certain sighs of disappointment that both were taken once Naruto took her hand. The Hyuga heiress wore a dark purple dress with black sash around her waist. Her skirt ended 2 inches above her knees. To go with the dress, she wore a sapphire ring on her left hand and black boots that reached about 2 inches past her shin. The dress fit her snugly, show some curves. Naruto was taken aback by her beauty. Hinata-chan, said. Hyuga blushed and asked, what do you think, Naruto-kun? The equally blushed Uzumaki replied, you are prettier than any woman I have ever met or will meet, so shall we enter? In response, Hinata grabbed Naruto's arm and tilted her head against it. The teen couple walked through the revolving doors to the reservation desk. Table for 2 under Uzumaki. Follow me, Uzumaki-sama. Naruto and Hinata followed the waiter to their table. The table was a decent-sized, circular table with white cloth, a romantic firelit candle, and yes, folded napkins. The scenery was classic from the traditional paintings, yet romantic from the violin music and lighting. After around 2 minutes, a waitress approached to their table. Hello, my name is... Naruto realized who it was and interrupted. Naruto. What are you doing here / what are you doing here? Date / work. Both told each other in sync. When they were clear away from sync, they continued their answers. Naruto went first. I'm on a date with Hinata, said. Hyuga waved high. Then Sue replied, nice. I work here every Saturday, so I can keep my life from completely being taken over by shinobi work. There was an awkward silence for around 3 minutes. Sue did her job. So my name is Sue and tonight I will be your waitress. May I have your orders? Hinata spoke. Yes, I will have the tonkatsu with light sake. Then Naruto told his mint green-haired friend his order. I will have fish yakisoba with light sake also. Sue collected their menus and left to tell the chefs. As she left, Hinata teased Naruto. What, no ramen? I switched my diet. Ramen 24/7 isn't really healthy. Naruto informed his girlfriend. Naruto-kun, can I ask you something? Fire away. How did you survive the Chidori? I read the med report. The Chidori pierced through your lung, several arteries and veins. From the amount of blood, you should have died, no offense. Naruto hung his head down for a few seconds. There is something? No, a lot of things I must tell you. Naruto began to tell his story about the beatings, Kurama, Kenshin, and Yuzushio. Hinata could barely hold back the tears in her eyes. Eventually they came out. Naruto wiped them away. I didn't want to tell you because I thought you would think I was a demon. Naruto told her as his head was lowering after wiping the Hyuga's tears away. His head was raised by Hinata, who spoke. I have always loved you for your heart and determination. And that is a love that will stop. Their faces grew closer and continued to, all right, tonkatsu for Hinata, and fish yakisoba for the Naruto, followed by light sake from the wave. Sue spoke until she realized what almost happened. Oh crap, Naruto almost kissed Hinata, and I ruined. I will have to apologize to him later. As Sue left, she mouthed sorry, which was accepted by Naruto, who nodded. So close, Kit, Kurama, stay out of this.
Ok, bye.
The couple ate their meal and drank their sake. Naruto made sure that Hinata was not wasted like Sue several days ago. The two also gossiped a bit on what happened during the 3 years. They finished and Naruto paid the bill. He also included a generous tip to Sue. The blonde walked Hinata to the hotel. Before she entered the building, Naruto realized what he had planned. Hinata, wait. I want to give you something. Naruto reached for a small black box in his pocket. When he opened the box, it contained a gold necklace in the shape of a curled fox. I made this for you. It has a hidden teleportation seal. Whenever you need me, focus chakra and I will always be there for you. It's beautiful, Naruto-kun. Hinata read the back. There was an engraving that read, to Hinata, he girl I love the most. The young Hyuga got a mischievous grin. Hey Naruto-kun, I never got dessert. Naruto realized his mistake. We can go to MMMFFF. The next thing he saw was Hinata Hyuga kissing him. A.N equals Naruhina fans. This good. Because there will be more. Hinata stuck her tongue in his mouth and Naruto did the same. After several minutes, they broke for air. Hinata spoke with a very satisfied face. That will do. Good night, Naruto-kun. The heiress left into the building to her hotel room, leaving Naruto with a very shocked look. Said blonde started jumping into the air in celebration. His pure dragon chakra started unconsciously leaking as he danced his way home. In his house, Kurama spoke to him. That girl has some of the purest souls in existence. I feel like sealing it into an object to keep her immortal. Naruto got an idea. Kurama, is that possible? Yeah. That is how we can save you. We can seal you into something and you will live forever. Let's get started. Kit, do it in the morning, or else you could ruin your face with even more with ink. Okay, Kurama. Good night. Good night, Kit. He is a genius. And slept thinking of saving his best friend and of the details of his first kiss. The taste, the excitement, the touch, and the realization. Oh, did he sleep well that night? Next morning, the blonde Jinchuriki couldn't control the look on his face that was a cross between happy and dumb. So he put up a genjutsu and got ready to meet up with his friends. Of course, Ryu, the top genjutsu specialist, noticed the genjutsu and released it, revealing the look on his face. Masami realized about his date last night, so she spoke. So Naruto-Nizan, mind telling us how you lost your? Naruto stopped her before she finished and the rest got any ideas. Shut up, Masami-Nizan. All right, calm down. You take ordered, him being the most mature out of them. The Uzukage has information for us. All 6 teenagers either teleported or shushened. You called us Ka-san/Uzukage-sama? The teens asked. One just stood silent. Ryu? He can't speak, of course. Due to a new peace treaty, the final exams will be moved to Naruto's birth village. Kushina spoke. Wait, that means. Sue realized and said out loud until Naruto finished for her. You are going back to Konoha with me? Spoke a voice in the shadows. The figure emerged and was Minato Namikaze. Tousan. Masami and Naruto yelled as they tackled him into a hug. Chapter begin. Everyone in the room beside Naruto, Masami, and Kushina were shocked. Minato and Namikaze, the yellow FF flash. Akaru asked partially in fear. The Namikaze replied, in the flesh. I was revived by the Reaper death seal last night. While a special someone had a date with a certain Hyuga heiress, Minato walked up to Naruto. We can sort that out on the road. Are we gonna go to Konoha or not? I've been waiting 3 years to see Irika-sensei, Bachan, Kakashi-sensei, Tuchi, and Ayam, Naruto said with nervousness followed by a burning passion. Minato sighed. He was just like him and Kushina, caring and positive like him, stubborn and relentless like Kushina. All right, all of you pack up. It's a 3-day trip. 1 by land, 1 by sea, and 1 by land again. All right, the hyperactive blonde yelled. Cue montage, Teen Titans Go to Japan style, music, Kizuna Drive opening. The link is in my profile, the last one. Naruto teleported to his room using the flying thunder god, surprising Minato. He packed his toothbrush, his old jumpsuit and goggles, several bento boxes, extra shuriken and kunai, scrolls, his Dragon Knight belt, and spare clothes. I'm coming, Konoha. Masami just ran to her room. She packed lots of clothes, her spare swords, kunai and shuriken, 1 pillow, several bento boxes, a toothbrush, her Darkwing Knight sword, and some energy bars. The rest did the same. Kenshin grabbed a folder full of official papers, a small pillow, scrolls, 8 katana, a lot of weapons, his ornate gauntlet and short sword, some flowers sealed into a scroll, and spare clothes. They all got to the North Gate with Team 10 and 8. Hinata walked up to Naruto and gave him a kiss on the cheek and whispered, "How was dessert?" Naruto just blushed. Chuji asked who the person in the hood was. It was actually the dead Yondaime. Minato wore a hood and hinged into a regular male with black eyes and brown hair. His story was that he was a traveler whose next stop was Konoha. Everything was fine until Ino realized, "Where's Team 7? She was unsure until she saw Naruto's evil grin. Oh my god. What did Naruto do? Ino thought. Just then she saw Team 7. Everyone laughed at them. Naruto pranked them in less than 1 minute. Sasuke's hair was dyed neon pink. His shirt was magenta and read Gay Uchiha's Rule in white. All of Sakura's clothes and hair were dyed black. She had black nail polish, and the back of her shirt read, "I love perverts." She was constantly muttering, "I'm going to be all right." Both of them would have a problem once they arrived in Konoha. But Sai was left untouched, most likely because Naruto had trusted him. Now that Team 7 is here, we can set out to the journey, Naruto told the rest of the group. After 35 minutes of walking, Naruto stopped too because he saw a note hanging from his backpack. It read, "Dear Sochi, I will not be in Konoha until the final exam round starts. When the time comes, I will come due to my political position as a Kage. Don't feel down. Kenshin and Minato-kun can train you and your sister. If you are wondering how Minato-kun has a knight, it is because Minato-kun's great-great-great-grandfather's aunt was an Uzumaki. It is rare for a distant lineage member to gain member, but not impossible. He has a Dalmia, the Sun King, but Minato-kun will explain later. Also, to decrease the size of your transformation, just think of being the small and you will turn your regular size. And to reverse it, just think of the something big. Remember, the knights have their own spirit. Communicate with them mentally. They will help you. Share this with Masami and Masami alone. Kenshin and Minato-kun already know. Good luck. Love, Kasen." Naruto smiled and showed the note to Masami, who her brother. "Thank you, Naruto and Aisen." Naruto just politely replied, "No problem, Imudo." He ruffled her crimson hair and was playfully punched on the arm. Naruto caught up with Hinata and talked with her. "So about last night. What about it, Naruto-kun? It was amazing." "Yes, but there is something I never got to tell you, and I can't tell you yet, because you wouldn't believe me. So I will show, but not now. Soon." The Hyuga heiress just pouted like a child. The two continued to talk as a couple. Their conversation included talk about techniques, family, Konoha, and their future. Hinata never felt so happy in her life. She didn't have to observe Naruto from a distance anymore. She could talk to him, occasionally getting blushes and rarely fainting. And the best part about it was that she had 3 days with Naruto alone. Little did people know, but Hinata had a secret perverted side just like her mother. The group's journey continued for about 5 hours until an ambush by 40 or so bandits. Naruto, Masami, Kenshin, Ryu, Akaru, Sue, and Yutake all thought the same thing evilly. Thank you, Kami, for this gift of bloodlust. Kenshin made 12 hand seals that Naruto had seen once only 12 years ago. When he was done, he spoke, Uzumaki art, Shinigami judgment. This time Naruto saw his eyes. His sclera turned black. His pupil and iris became pure white with a black 4-pointed star. In his vision, all the bandits became highlighted in red, and Kenshin got quick memories of all the wrong they had done, except for one who was highlighted in yellow. When his eyes returned to normal, Kenshin yelled, "Kill them all! Leave the short one with brown eyes and black ponytail alive, or I will kill you personally in the most painful way possible." The Uzushio and Konoha Nins understood and attacked the rest. Ino, Chuji, and Shikamaru were doing their regular Ino Shikacho tactic. Hinata was using her IWA Jukin, Shino was feeding his hive, and Kiba was shredding them with Akamaru. Sai just sat down and made ink beasts. Sasuke pierced every bandit he saw with Chidori, but Sakura was frozen when she killed her first bandit. At the sight of blood, she began to shake and paralyze. A tall and large bandit came up behind her with a knife, attempting to stab her. He was 2 inches away until his arm was sliced off by a red and black sword with a demon look to it. It was Naruto who literally flashed all over the place, chopping, slashing, shredding, and overall destroying every bandit he saw. When a certain range of thugs was removed from existence, he walked up to Sakura, slapped her, and yelled, "Get a grip! You're a shinobi, so get your shit together." Sakura got up and fought, but didn't kill. Moving on, Masami and were flooding the place with A-rank water jutsu. Ryu captured the rogues in painful genjutsu while Naruto, Kenshin, and Yutake killed them. Akaru used his acid style to get rid of all the bodies on the ground. Minato just stood there. Pretty soon, it seemed as if nothing had transpired there. They all walked up to the boy Kenshin had told to leave alive. Kenshin walked up to him and said politely, "It's all right, we're not gonna hurt you. Tell us your name and why you are here." The boy replied, "My name is Idate Marino. I was originally a Konoha genin, but my sensei tricked me to stealing the Nidame's Thunder Spirit sword. My brother found me and was tortured and left for dead by my senii. Next thing I know, I am a rogue shinobi. To survive, I joined the bandits, but I didn't enjoy it." Something in Naruto's head clicked and he asked, "Marino? As in Ibiki Marino?" "Yes, he was my brother. He died in a fire after he was tortured by Aoi, my sensei. He's still alive and an interrogator in Konoha. We can take you there." "Please do." Idate started begging, until Masami got him up and told him, "Don't worry, we will. We are going there for the Jonin exams. My name is Masami. The blonde boy is my brother Naruto. The person with the purple hair is Ryu, he can't speak. The large kid is Akaru. The one with the black suit is Sue. The guy with the Zanbato is Yutake. And he rest are the Konoha teams. Ino, Chuji, Shikamaru, Kiba, Hinata, Shino, Sasuke, Sakura, Sai, and Kenshin, and Otame. Minato's codename. It's actually his true name reversed." Said ninjas and Traveler either waved or smiled. One certain raven-haired teen grunted. Idate smiled and told the group, "You guys seem strong. There is a bandit camp a half a kilometer. Do you think you could destroy it?" Naruto was interested, so he asked, "How many bandits?" "About 150 to 200. Can why?" Idate replied/inquired. He didn't get to finish due to the amount of bloodlust coming from the Uzushio Nins. Naruto answered, "You bet we will." On their way there, Naruto and Kyuubi spoke in Naruto's mindscape. In his past research, he learned to alter the environment, so he changed it to a luscious forest with nearby lake and lots of rabbits for Kurama to chase. Kurama spoke to Naruto while Naruto was hanging upside down from a tree. "Kid, why don't you, Masami, and Kenshin use your nights at the bandit camp?" Naruto was confused why Kurama wanted him to do such a large overkill on thugs. True, he usually did, but not with a 6.5-meter giant. "Won't that reveal the Konoha teams of some of my powers? You need to tell the your vixen of your night, is there a better way to? And it would make that Uchiha jealous as hell, so you can rub it in his face." The demon replied. After thinking for a few minutes, the blonde spoke his answer. "Fine, but only because of my promise to Hinata." "Good. Tell your sister and that perverted swordsman. Also, If you and the vixen hook up in a tent or on the boat, you have my blessing. Naruto blushed as much as Hinata and yelled, "Arrow Kitsune!" As he disappeared from his mindscape. Naruto told Kenshin and Masami about the plan, whom agreed. When the group got there, Hinata and the scarred perv, thank you THG for the name, scanned the camp for innocent people or hostages. When there were none, an evil grin grew on their face. The Uzumakis told the rest to stand back about 30 feet. Just before Naruto yelled, "Hinata, this is what I wanted to show you." Kenshin struck the dagger inside the gauntlet, Masami's sword's wings popped out, and Naruto's belt attached to his weight. All did their oath for the effect and yelled, "Verto!" A rune circle each of the Uzumakis, and they glowed and transformed into their knights. The rest of the group were shocked and one was very angry and jealous. Minato couldn't be prouder. His son and daughter have their own knights. "Attack!" Naruto ordered in his ancient echo voice. The knights and shinobi did. Some of the bandits were wiped out by a shock wave as soon as they jumped on the campground. The Uzushio and Konohanins were using their usual battle tactics, but two young twins were experimenting with the possibilities of their knight form. For a bit of fairness, they decreased their size to human height. It turned out that ninjutsu and kenjutsu were possible in their form, but only when they were at their normal height in knight form. Naruto used his Dragon Fang trident to stab and slash bandits with the occasional Rasengan. He used the pole side aspect, his agility and speed to quickly recover from his attacks and continue to slash. Hinata thought he looked like a pole dancer. Fine line. Masami twirled her knight lance like a bow staff and skewered the bandits with grace and ease. Along with several water jutsu, she seemed like a ballerina on water. Kenshin just continued to hack, slice, smack, and block with his silver saber and angelic shield. Unlike the twins, Kenshin's attack pattern was somewhat barbaric and relentless. All he used was strength, power, his blade, and reflexes, which suited his weapons just fine. It took less than 10 minutes for the 200-person camp to be cleared. Idate was amazed, not at the Konohanins, but at the Uzushio. Primarily the Uzumakis, no one had ever seen something like. When the group stopped around 10:15 to set up camp, they had some explaining to do. Naruto spoke up. "If you can stop staring at us like we are freaks, then I can explain. The Uzumaki clan has been known for kenjutsu, fuinjutsu, their lifespan, chakra levels, and healing factors. One other ability was to become pact makers, those chosen to channel the power of great warriors. But we are still human." Sasuke had enough. "Dobe, I demand you give me that power." Naruto, Masami, and Kenshin just laughed at him. Masami spoke. 1. You aren't an Uzumaki. Then Kenshin continued. Must be chosen. Finally Naruto. 3. Tell that to someone that cares. You can't do anything to me, because I am stronger than you and uncorrupted. Now if you don't mind, good night. We have to wake up at 6:30 to make up for the time we lost. They all put out the fire and went to their respective tents. The blonde Jinchuriki frantically checked his backpack for his tent only to find that he never packed one. Naruto found his solution, one he did for 6 years straight. "I guess I can sleep on the trees like in Konoha." Naruto Chakra climbed to a tree. He was midway until Hinata stopped him and spoke with a very dark blush. "Why were you asleep with me in my TT tent?" "Really? Are you sure I can? I kinda sleep without my shirt," Naruto said to his girlfriend, a bit flushed. She nodded and replied, "Just give me a minute to change." She went into the tent and after 2 minutes, told Naruto that it was okay to come inside. When he did, Hinata was wearing purple pajama shorts with a loose nightshirt. The embarrassed Hyuga looked away with her head down and a blush on her face. The equally embarrassed Uzumaki was wearing black sweatpants with an orange line and a gray muscle shirt. "It's all right, Hinata-chan. You look beautiful." The couple got settled into their sleeping bags. "Good night, Hinata-chan." Naruto kissed her and fell asleep. The entire time Hinata thought one thing. Squeal Naruto-kun actually kissed me without me kissing him. Soon they both fell asleep. The next morning, Naruto's eyes peacefully awoke. He felt something soft and warm on his chest. He looked down to see the sleeping face of Hinata Hyuga. Who did you expect, Ino?" As he slowly got up, the lavender-haired girl did too. "Good morning, Hinata-chan." said teenager opened her eyes to see her body over Naruto's and her face on his muscular chest. His figure was not ripped like a steroid freak, but he was muscular for his age with a six-pack. Suddenly a camera flashed, and behind the camera flash was Masami Uzumaki. Both Naruto and Hinata got up and chased the female Uzumaki. Naruto kept yelling, "Imuto, if I don't catch you, I swear to Kami I will prank you harder than I did to Sarujiji." Around 3 hours later, the camera was destroyed, the couple were blushing, but everyone was on the road. The blonde Jinchuriki and Lavender Heiress both thought, this is going to be a long trip. It was another day in Konoha for Tsunade. The civilian council was bitching, sake was being drunk more than it could be bought, paperwork from hell was being finished, etc. She didn't want to admit it, but when Konoha's economy went down, they started to get some sense knocked into them. Some not a lot. The Hokage didn't have to worry about anything for the rest of the day. Why? Because today was the day Naruto was going to return to Konoha. The Busta Blonde had waited years for this moment. So once an ANBU told her of Konoha's Jonin test candidate's return, she was ecstatic. Enough so that she shushed to the west gate. Irika was walking around as usual, remembering his times with Naruto until he saw Konohamaru running towards the west gate. The boy just stopped to tell Irika the news, then ran off. "The boss is here." 15 seconds later, Irika was running with Konohamaru to the gate. Kakashi noticed all the commotion while he was with Kurenai, Asuma, Anko, Yuzuki, Genma, and Guy. So he followed the teacher and student. Soon, so did the rest of the Jonin/ANBU. When all of the group arrived, they saw their teams, but in front of them were 7 they didn't recognize. That was until Kakashi saw the blonde hair, and Yuzuki saw the 3 scars and red hair. Naruto/Kenshin-kun, they 7 just walked with the rest to the west gate. When they got there, it was mainly catching up. "Where were you / when did you become a stud? / how are you / don't almost die like that? Gaki / nice swords / your flames burn brighter than ever." The blonde briefed everyone. "This is Masami, my twin sister. This is Ryu, he's mute. This is Kenshin, my uncle. These are my best friends Sue, Utake, Akaru, and this is my girlfriend Hinata." Naruto said as his friends, sister, and uncle nodded/waved, whereas Hinata kissed him on the cheek. Suddenly Kenshin walked up to Yuzuki and gave her the bouquet of lisianthus and hydrangeas. In return she slapped him. "That was for almost dying on me." Then she kissed him. When they parted, she spoke. "That was for coming back, Kenshin-kun. I heard about Hayate, don't worry. When I find that IWA shinobi, I will make sure they wish their mother never opened her legs." Furious 7 reference for the win. Suddenly an ANBU arrived. "The Hokage, Ninja, and Civilian Council request your presence." They followed the ANBU to the meeting room. As soon as Naruto got there, he threw a sunbon at Mabuki Haruno's throat and forementioned, "Before you say anything, she was going to screech, and it is just a paralyzing agent." He grabbed the sunbon and it back into his pouch. Tsunade spoke up. "We have gathered you here to analyze certain factors of your family. I believe you have a sister, am I right?" "Yes, I do. She is known as the Crimson Wave," Naruto said, and was interrupted by a councilman. "Then she should be wed to the Uchiha. She is strong and will bear him with strong chill." The temperature dropped when Naruto emitted Ki, picked up the same fat councilman, and yelled, "Never say that. I would rather die than ever let Sasuke touch my sister. I demand you put me down." Naruto just answered in a cold voice. 1. I am not the scared little boy anymore, and 2. Nor am I a Konoha shinobi. 3. As primary heir to Uzushio, I can easily wipe out Konoha when I turn 17. 4. I will drop you, but only because of our peace treaty in 5 weeks. Tsunade broke the tension by informing, "Because of you being the last living Namikaze, you can either rejoin Konoha or transfer all of the Namikaze asset rights to yourself in Uzushio." The Jinchuriki dropped the fat civilian and thought for a moment, then said his answer, "Sorry, Hokage Dano, but I am staying where I belong. Plus, I have a clan to revive." At this, the civilian council, Danzo, Hamura, and Koharu grinned until, "With a girl I love and only her. I don't want you sending whores after me, so Konoha can have super soldiers." "Okay, we respect your decision. And there are 2 things that are rightfully yours." Tsunade informed and gave him the Shodame's necklace and his slashed Konoha forehead protector. Naruto put on the necklace and put his headband in his pouch. Thank you, Hokage-sama. With that, Naruto and Masami left, and Kenshin was left in the room. The council grinned at him. He just grabbed his sword and halfway yelled, "You bastards better not even think about me helping you. I have my own girlfriend and I love her very much. So go to hell." He cyclone shoe-shined out of the room. Danzo kept thinking, such power. I must have them en route. When Kenshin caught up with Masami, she was worried and sweating. What happened? Naruto-Nizan just ran away. I lost him. Where could he be? Kenshin was unsure. I'm not sure. I haven't been to Konoha in 16 years. Just then Hinata appeared and quietly spoke. I know where he is. The trio found him on Hokage Mountain, sitting on the Minato Namikaze's head. He just faced the village and spoke to his girlfriends, sister, and uncle without facing them. I used to always come here 3 years. It just felt right. And now I know I always sat on my father's hair. Masami inquired him, What's wrong, Nizan? He just got up and said, Everything is fucking wrong. The village, my past, my life. These bastards treated me like a demon throughout my life, and now they come begging back at me, especially those advisors and Danzo. He put his head down and the three saw tears falling on the ground. Hinata ran and hugged Naruto and told him, You haven't done anything wrong, Naruto. Minato-sama sealed the QB inside you for a reason. He knew his son could master the power and use it for the right purposes. Kenshin walked up and informed, Don't worry, oi nephew. They will get their time. Naruto just responded by getting out of their grip and saying, They want a demon, they're gonna get one. Naruto released some dark chakra, then calmed down to say, Let's go to the hotel, I'm tired as hell. Next day. Ni-san, get up. Masami yelled at a very exhausted Naruto. He didn't move, so the redhead twin grabbed a pillow, used water style, water bullet on the pillow, and threw it at Naruto. He just unconsciously caught the pillow and threw it somewhere, hitting Kenshin, who spilled his green tea on his pants. Ni-san, the combatants for the final round have been announced. Instantly Naruto got up, brushed, made his hair, changed his clothes, ate breakfast, grabbed his sister's arm and left for the arena. Kids, was what the scarred uncle thought as he changed his clothes too from the stain. When Naruto and Masami arrived, it was a crowd of shinobi and civilians. Most of the shinobi respected Naruto for his sacrifice, but the civilians still hated him. Naruto just stood on top of the arena and wrote something on paper. He gave the paper to Masami. It read, Dear citizens of Konoha, the fighters for the Jonin exams have officially been announced in 1 week. 1. Sue Shinarashi vs. Hinata Hyuga. 2. Uchiha Sasuke vs. Uzumaki Masami. 3. Akaru Hotuki vs. Shino Abrame. 4. Naruto Uzumaki vs. Yutake Hayabusa. 5. Shikamaru Nara vs. Tayamo Irazu. We request that manners are maintained due to the visit of the Uzukage, Reikage, and Kazekage for a new peace treaty. Thank you. Tsunade Senju. 5th Hokage. Masami was wondering how Naruto could see the notice when they were on top of the arena. And you saw this how? Simple, I sent chakra to my eyes, thus improving my vision further from Kurama's chakra infusion. Then I looked at the notice reflection and copied it upside down. Naruto said as his eyes returned to his normal steel blue slits instead of the blood-red ones. Masami realized something. How's Kurama-san? Naruto just spoke in a glad voice. I saved him. Masami couldn't believe it, so he explained.
Flashback no Jutsu.
Kurama, are you ready for this? I'll be all right, but I'm worried about you. The seal strain of my soul could kill you. Worth a try. You can't live life to the fullest without a couple risks. Okay, let's begin. Uzumaki art. Angelic soul seal. The sealing started. Kanjis glowed in white around Naruto and red around Soul Redeemer. He screamed from the pain. Kurama was right about the strain. Kurama's form became like a go's, but it was scaled down to the Akamaru's size. Naruto, why did you use the angelic soul seal? It's not meant for demons? It's gonna kill you. Naruto barely answered. Why you're an not a demon? So UWW won't be sealed like one. Naruto screamed out in pain. The fox could only watch as the blonde was inflicted with pain. Soon the nine-tailed fox was absorbed into the sword. The sword's form shifted and glowed with purple energy. When it was done, it had a handle 1 foot long covered in black material. The blade was still black but was also outlined in red. Above the hilt was a half-cross and curved blade, made protect the user's fingers. Aden. Imagine Elucidator but black and red. The most noticeable thing was the kanji on the blade that said Kyubi on one side and Soul Judgment on the other. Kurama. Stupid brat, you could have died. Well, if I did then you would have lived. Plus it was either me or none. Fine, but get some sleep. You look like shit. Naruto just plopped on his bed like an anchor. Flashback. No jutsu completed. Now Masami understood why Naruto was so tired and why he was a bit more carefree. But all in all she was happy. Bonk, idiot Nizan, you could have died. But it's good you saved Kurama. Why must you be like Ka-san? The blonde said as he rubbed his head. Genetics. Does that mean you aren't a Jinchuriki? The female Uzumaki inquired. I sealed the will of Kurama's soul, not the will of his chakra. So technically I still am a Jinchuriki, but Kurama is free partially until I die. Naruto said in a proud voice. Let's go practice. The brother and sister headed for training field 7. They started by Kenjutsu katas. Masami and Naruto were learning a 3-sword style called Devil's Blade. Then when they had mastered it, they would learn the 8-sword style called the Rapid Stinger. After their katas came the usual training exercises with gravity seals. By the time they started sparring it was 3 p.m. so duo stopped for lunch. They headed back into town, or you could say Naruto dragged Masami to Ichiraka Ramen. Come on, Masami. Just try it. Masami struggled to get out of her brother's grip. Damn Kenshin and his grip training. Every day he greeted you with a handshake that rivaled Swanda's punch in strength. Eventually you get used to a correct grip to support Kenjutsu. But what about the Akimichi barbecue? Can we please try that later for dinner? Hurry. Before the lunch rush. Masami felt herself be teleported. How did you put a seal tag when we are barely on our 2nd day? The female asked. Shadow clone? Naruto simply said as he got into his seat, and handed Masami a menu as he too took one. Old man, can I please get some miso ramen? A cook about in his mid-60s came out of the kitchen along with a girl in around 19. Please don't call me that. My favorite customer used to call me that before he disappeared. To-san, it's... I am spoke in a very surprised voice. Naruto Uzumaki at your service. The blonde said as his grin grew. Good to be back. Who is this Naruto? Your girlfriend. I am sad in a sly tone until Naruto spoke. That is my sister, Masami. I am Chan. Said sister waved high, with a faint blush on her cheeks. Can I have 5 spicy shrimp ramen? You are Naruto's sister. That much I can tell. Ayam took their menus and told her father, To-san, 15 miso ramen and 5 shrimp ramen. When their ramen arrived, it was piping hot, just the way the Uzumakis liked. Naruto began and was on his 3H bowl, while Masami hesitantly took her first bite. Instantly she realized why Naruto always came here. Said blonde noticed this and asked Tucci for 10 more shrimp ramen. When they were done, Naruto commented, Thank you Ayam and Tucci for everything. Can I request something? What is it, Naruto? Tucci asked. Naruto just replied with his famous fox grin. I would like to request you to move Ichiraka Ramen to Yuzushio in honor of the Uzumaki clan. Ayam and Tucci's eyes were big as saucers. This was too much for them. Also, the Uzukage in Yuzushio would be happy to present you with a 5-star gourmet kitchen and a staff of waiters, waitresses, and chefs provided by Yuzushio. We accept. Thank you, Naruto. Tucci continued to thank the Jinchuriki, while Ayam gave him a sisterly kiss on the cheek. Naruto suddenly remembered what he had planned since he was 7. I also have payment for all the ramen you gave me. Naruto handed them a scroll. When he opened it, Tucci fainted from the amount of money. Naruto, this is over 300,000 ryo. How did you get this? Ayam asked as Naruto rushed to catch the girl's father, but he managed to respond. I saved up. I promised you and your father that I would repay you, and I always keep my promises. I wish you a good evening. With that, Naruto disappeared in a yellow flash. When Naruto got home, His sister was dresses in a very nice red dress. Nissan, where were you? I was training. I don't care. We have plans with Hinata, Sue, Yutake, Akaru, and Kenshin. Masami's eyes were on fire and he was overwhelmed by an endless rant. Emuto, I'm just wearing a hinge release. Naruto transformed from a sweaty training suit to a classy, tuxedo blonde with gelled back hair and gold cufflinks. So, ready. The redhead female just smiled and spoke as she grabbed Naruto's arm and walked outside. Okay, but you're paying. Damn you, Akaru. Next morning, 6 days later. Kit, the match is in 1 hour. Get your ass out of bed and go get ready. Your sister and uncle left 45 minutes ago. The Kyuubi shouted at Naruto, whose eyes opened pure crimson, and he was a blur of red, black, and yellow as he got ready. He was wearing his usual shinobi outfit, but on his right bicep was his yuzu headband. Due to him wearing his Konoha 1 on his forehead to signify his anger towards Konoha. Not bad. This is something I should have done long ago. Careful with that chaos chakra, Kurama warned him. Naruto might literally kill himself if he doesn't calm down. Even a shinobi must know his limits to surpass them. Okay, let's go. Naruto yelled and he ran with speed enough to make the Raikage jealous. Midway, his body bursted with red lightning. Imagine reverse flash because respectfully I think red lightning is cooler than yellow. The Crimson Speed Seal worked, Naruto thought as Chibi Naruto did his happy dance in the mindscape causing Kurama to anime fall. He ran with such speed. Naruto was there in less than 25 seconds. When he arrived, ran in circles to make a cloud of smoke. Suddenly a pillar for fire erupted and out of it was Naruto standing on Gamabunta. Gaara was Styak just like every day, but he was relieved Naruto was safe and here for the Jonin exams for him to view Naruto's growth. Kushina was pleased with Naruto's choice of headband placement. The Raikage freaked out when he saw the yellow flash using his speed technique. He got up and yelled, "How the hell are you still alive and how do you know my jutsu?" Naruto just calmly dispelled Gamabunta and yelled back, "Right family but wrong generation. And as for the red lightning, it is my Crimson Speed Seal. Otherwise, hello, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze and let's get this party started." Most of the travelers and shinobi from foreign villages cheered because they recognized him as the Crimson Cyclone. But the villagers from Konoha tried to boo, but they found demonic Ki directed precisely at them. Gemna appeared and Naruto leapt into his seat. "May I have your attention? Can Hinata Hyuga and Tsushinarshi please come to the field for the first fight?" Both combatants came to the field in an instant. 3, 2, 1, fight. Hinata activated her Byakugan and Sue quickly weaved seals. Water style. Dragon bullet. Sue shot small pellets of water at Hinata, who used her Mizu Juken to gather all of the water-infused chakra and redirect it back at her. Thankfully, it was a single projectile, so Sue managed to dodge. Hinata ran at Sue with a kunai in her hand ready to throw. At a range of 2 feet, Hinata threw it at Sue's feet. Sue looked down to avoid the hit, which gave Hinata an opening. The Hyuga swiftly punched Sue in her sternum, effectively knocking the wind out of her and pushing her back 17 feet. "Shit, that hurt. I don't think my ribcage can stand another hit like that," Sue thought as she barely regained the oxygen she lost. "This is my last chance, otherwise I'll pass out from chakra exhaustion." Water style. Shark tsunami. The water level started to rise up to 6.5 feet. The crowd thanked the builder who chose to build the crowd seating area 7 feet above the battlefield. Along with the water level, sharks started to form. It may not seem like it, but she was freaking out. Her mind was flooded with panic, but she realized an answer. As the water and sharks headed for her, she used her Iwa Juken to create a thick fracture in the ground, which caused all the water to empty into the fissures. The sharks poofed away and Sue passed out from chakra exhaustion. Winner. Hinata Hyuga. The crowd started to clap and cheer loudly. Hayashi was proud beyond comprehension. The crowd quieted down and Sue was taken to the medical bay. "May Masami Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha please come down to the field?" Gemma called out the next combatants. "May Sasuke Uchiha and Masami Uzumaki please come to the field for the next fight?" Said fighters came almost instantaneously, took around 45 steps back, and got into their taijutsu stances. Masami recognized the Uchiha's interceptor taijutsu style and adjusted herself into the guardian dragon stance. It was the opposite of the warrior dragon. This one required both leg and arm endurance and strength. The user had to quickly block while countering if possible, and with thousands of combos and patterns, it was a difficult style to learn. But Masami managed to along with Naruto, who favored the warrior dragon and amped it using his chakra. Sasuke ran at Masami with his left hand flat pointing at her with his thumb curled on his palm. The style was similar to a spear. As he striked with brute force, the Uzumaki easily dodged. One of the hits struck the ground and left a hole around 3 inches. Shit, I can't get hit by that. I need to go against Nai-san and get revenge on this bastard, Masami thought as she was determined to win against the traitor who almost killed her brother. She prepared several hand seals and yelled, "Water style, Barracuda torrent." Chakra seemed to drift through the air and then water started to appear from the air. In the water formed thin, long fish with razor-sharp teeth and swam to attack Sasuke, who was submerged while Masami was standing on the water. Sasuke quickly swam up, jumped and used a familiar jutsu. Naruto quickly recognized the hand seals and warned his sister, "Masami, he's going to use Chidori. Get out of the water." But it was too late. Sasuke dived down arm first and yelled, "Chidori wave." The lighting flowed through the water, causing the Barracuda to be destroyed, and Masami was electrocuted. She fell once the water faded, but stood up. From her posture, the electricity numbed her left leg and right arm and shoulder. She grabbed made one hand seals. Just then Sasuke was in front and the sound of multiple birds chirping filled the air. "Chidori." Sasuke just spoke in a cold voice. His Chidori stabbed the female Uzumaki in her stomachy. Blood started to pour from her mouth and wound. Her figure fell and Sasuke just spoke, "How about that bitch?" Naruto could only witness in horror as his sister was stabbed by the very same jutsu that almost killed him. He had had enough. He released his chaotic chakra subconsciously as he sped towards his sister. His body emitted Ki that made the Kyuubi look like an ant. The blonde's eyes became crimson red like usual, but his sclera, whites of the eyes, turned black. He ran towards his sister, but Sasuke blocked him. That resulted in Naruto throwing a right hook which broke the Uchiha's jaw and sent him back several feet. The male Uzumaki made around 45 hand seals at very quick speeds and said a jutsu, angelic sealing art, transfer of burdens. The area started to fill with pure white and silver chakra. The feeling was warm and cozy, angelic some would have said. Masami's blood flowed back into her body, and she gasped as she regained consciousness. The redhead looked around and saw her brother. "Nisan, you used that jutsu, didn't you?" All the Jinchuriki weakly said was, "Masami, don't be so careless with anger and hatred." His abdomen started to burst out with blood and his mouth poured blood too. The crowd was shocked at what happened. A teenager had healed his sister from a very fatal wound, but something was wrong. The medic scurried and opened his shirt and cloak to reveal his cheese-led chest and a hole in his stomachy. But instead of continuing to bleed, the wound was closing and the bleeding was starting to stop. Red energy consumed his body and his skin burned as he went into his version 2 Kyuubi form with 5 tails. Konoha villagers were panicking from the return of the Kyuubi, but Naruto's Kyuubi chakra started to fade, revealing his pre-demon form with his animalistic features and his burnt skin, now quickly healing. He got up and acted like nothing happened. In the Kage box, the Raikage was amazed of Yuzushio's shinobi. "Yuzukage Dano, how did your shinobi do that?" Kushina just answered with extreme proudness. "He is a special case. Naruto used to be a Konoha shinobi but was betrayed by the very shinobi that stabbed that girl who is actually his sister. And the same shinobi almost killed him during a retrieval mission to prevent him from going to Orochimaru." Gaara spoke up and asked, "Why would you have a traitor in your ranks?" Tsunade just sighed and replied, "The civilian council is pain. Them and the villagers all try to overpower me, but I manage." Gaara was mystified by one factor. "How do you know so much about Naruto?" Kushina just grinned and answered, "Because I am his mother Kushina Uzumaki, and he is the heir of the Uzumaki clan. A mother cannot be a mother without learning about her son. And Gaara-san, Naruto has told me about you. Thank you for helping him during the retrieval mission." "Glad to help, but I should be thanking you and your son. He saved me from myself and helped me befriend Shikaku." The sand shadow spoke with a now common smile. I think the next match is about to start. Back on the field, Gama got out of his stupor and yelled the names of the next two combatants. May you take Hayabusa and Naruto Uzumaki please come to the field. Naruto was already there and just got into his usual Fox Fang Kenjutsu stance with his new soul's judgment. Utake just calmly walked and grabbed his oversized Zanbato. I guess this battle will decide Uzushio's best swordsman, huh, Naruto-san? Naruto smiled with his blood-red demon eyes and spoke with a voice that partially scared Utake. I guess so, Utake-san. So don't expect me to hold back. Naruto ran at Utake with white-hot fury and swung at the Hayabusa's feet, who jumped and brought down his Zanbato vertically. The blonde horizontally flipped aside and used a jutsu, wind-style, gale wall. The wind picked up, and as it did, Utake felt the wind hold him like an invisible prison. In front of him was Naruto preparing to slice him. Just then Utake used his own jutsu, earth-style, headhunter. The calm swordsman disappeared into the ground. Naruto heard movement in the ground, but when he realized it, he was in the ground. Utake grinned with victory until the blonde poofed. It was a shadow clone, and when Utake realized it, he was grabbed by two Narutos while one was running at the three at full speed. The Hayabusa swordsman was retrained, and with Naruto running at him, he was sure Naruto wouldn't kill him. But it seemed like he would. Masmai realized his and yelled at Naruto from the crowd. Nisan, what are you doing? The Naruto on the right was the real one and came to his senses just in time. So when T-charging clones slashed at Utake, Naruto jumped in front of him and took the blow and blood splashed everywhere. Utake yelled as he tried to stop the bleeding. I forfeit! The whole thing was a bloody mess just like before, and just like before Naruto began to heal. The medic on the left yelled at him, Kami kid, how many times are you gonna almost kill yourself? The Jinchuriki gave him a warm smile as he got up and spoke, 2 times more, and can you ask the girl with the red hair to get my second suit please? Mine is torn too much. Naruto's shinobi uniform had a huge hole and now a slash that had been extended for medical jutsu. So basically Naruto's front was shirtless, much to Hinata's displeasure due to the drooling female population. As he changed and took a shower in the locker room inside the arena, the Kage began to talk. That boy of yours is amazing, Kushina-san. The Raikage spoke with such intensity. The Uzukage thanked him. Thank you, A-san. I try to do the best for him because I have only known him for 3 years. It is a very touchy subject. I understand. I have had my fair share because of my little brother, B. A replied. Gaara asked Tsunade and Kushina a question he was curious about. I thought Naruto had total control of the Kyuubi, so why did he part ally lose control? Tsunade answered the first half. Naruto can lose control and unleash the Kyuubi's chakra based on his emotions of hatred, loss, and despair. Then Kushina continued. He can actually only control 8 tails of the Kyuubi's chakra, and he has 2 extra types of chakra. What I am about to tell you is very secretive that I hope you will keep secret. Naruto has inherited the Uzumaki clan's Silver Dragon Chakra. Eventually we found out that his Dragon Chakra mixed with the Kyuubi's chakra to create a Chaos Chakra of sorts. I hope you will keep this information private. The Kazekage was the first to speak. Of course, Kushina-san. I trust your son and he trusts me. So you can trust us. I agree. I owe you for what my forefathers did. I am sorry for what my country did. The Raikage informed in a sincere voice. They continued to talk about the current revelations and political issues until the next match. May Shikamaru Nara and Taimo Irazu come down to the field for the next battle? Genma yelled/requested. Once both shinobi arrived at their respective distance, Taimo spoke. Naraha, your and my clans were once united. Our abilities were opposites, and in the end we fought to see who was stronger. It was never decided due to our clan's immigration to Uzushio, but this battle will now decide it. Prepare yourself, Nara. Shikamaru just sighed and said his trademark phrase with its usual boredom and laziness. Troublesome. Why do I have to get caught in this clan dispute? The Nara prepared his family jutsu, shadow imitation. Shikamaru's shadow began to reach toward Taimo, who made hand seals of her own, threw several kunai with seal tags onto the sides of the lower area, and informed him, this is my bloodline solar style, blinding glare. The kunai started to emit light which caused Shikamaru's shadow to dissipate. The lazy Nara took note of the events. As long as those kunai are on the wall, I can't see or use my jutsu. I packed around 3 explosive tags, but if I use them I might injure some of the audience, troublesome. In his mid, Shikamaru calculated the precise angle, velocity, and distance to throw the explosive kunai that would destroy Taiamo's kunai. The shinobi thought that Shikamaru literally blindly threw the kunai judging from the sound, whereas Konoha's shinobi couldn't tell crap. He triggered the 3 kunai that had landed 5.2 feet in front of the wall and a quarter foot into the ground. Everybody heard an explosion as the light started to fade. Taiamo commented at her distant cousin with a surprised voice. 3 minutes and 17 seconds. You are the second person to break through my blinding glare, but your calculations were wrong. The kunai should have gone 7 inches deeper. The explosion destroyed some of the wall. Your clan uses yang release whereas mine uses in. I see what you meant by opposites, Shikamaru said as he relayed all the information he gathered. But did you see through the light? Taiamo grinned. Simple. The Irazu clan's eyes have adapted to extreme light intensity. The lens in our eyes can safely allow us to see through extreme light and ultraviolet light. Not only is it useful but also beautiful, because we can see colors that normal people's eyes would filter out. She put on strange white gloves and prepared 5 hand seals. Shikamaru did the same, but he was preparing shadow stitching instead. As the warping shadow reached, the Irazu female yelled her own jutsu, Solar Style, UV Pierce. A beam of light came from the sky and focused on Taiamo's hands and blasted toward Shikamaru. Suddenly Shikamaru felt his hand burn with a very strong heat. The blast continued for only 1 second then stopped. When Shikamaru saw his hands, they had 3-degree burns and were charred, but also he could feel them. Naruto and medic Nins came down to inspect the wound. The medic on the left told Naruto and Taiamo about the Nara's injuries. Well, he has 3-degree burns on his palm, fingers, and some of his wrist, and says he can't feel or move his hand. Damn it, Taiamo, you melted his tendons and nerves, Naruto slightly scolded. Taiamo looked down. Sorry, Naruto-kun. I guess I pushed too much chakra into the jutsu. Ah shit, this is gonna hurt. Angelic sealing art. Transfer of burdens. Shikamaru's injuries rapidly healed and he could move and feel his hand again. Naruto was cussing enough to make a sailor proud as his hand was burning but still healing. The same medic from before just quietly said, I might as well quit. Kit, I need to discuss something very important with you. The Kyuubi requested Naruto from his mindscape. Mindscape? Alright, what is it, Kurama? The blonde asked in a cheerful voice. Well, I reviewing your DNA and body details to ensure the sealing hadn't affected you, but I found 2 interesting things. The first is a gift from your pact. If a Uzumaki gains the pact of the Dragon Knight, then they receive a gift. It is called the Dragon's Eye. It is a bloodline that allows the user to see others' true self and emotion. But over time it has evolved and now you can see thermal signatures and an X-ray vision of sorts. It pinpoints the body's vital organs and pressure. Whoa! When the hell did I get so lucky? Let me finish, Naruto. I checked your chakra networks for abnormalities. And I found that you actually have 2 chakra networks. One for your regular chakra and the other for your chaotic chakra. Your chaos type was becoming unstable, so your body subconsciously created a 2 ND chakra network. Due to this, you will need to control your emotions because it is triggered by hatred and anger like mine was. Otherwise, you are at tip-top shape. Damn. Thanks for the heads up, Kurama. Oh, by the way, how's the new home? Pretty cool. I was experimenting and may have found a way to gain entrance into the physical world without me being summoned, but it is only in my human form. Nice, I have to go. But we can talk soon. Bye. Naruto faded from his mindscape. This left Kurama happy about things. Well, it's nice to see he is focusing outside of his mindscape. While Naruto and Kurama were discussing about Naruto's 2nd chakra network, the fight between Shino and Akaru began. Presently, it seemed like Shino was about to win the fight. Naruto asked a Kumanin next to him named Omoi on how the fight began. He explained on how Shino baited Akaru on calling him fat just like Chuji. So Akaru rushed in using his acid style, clumsily attempting to slow him down. He managed to burn him on his abdomen, but Akaru was spored with one of the Aburame clan's parasitic insects. The black neural beetle was currently attached on Akaru's neck, trying to attach to his spinal column to control his body. Battlefield. This lump is starting to hurt like hell. I give myself about 2.5 minutes tops, Akaru said as he lost feeling of the pinky, ring finger, and middle finger in his left hand. Not only would the effect take longer, but the Hotoki used too much chakra in the taunt, so his body couldn't fight the parasitic effects as strongly as it could. Shino just casually stood and spoke. You rushed into the battle without being logical and focusing on your opponent. Your mistake was the cause, and this is the effect. The Aburame reached into his hood and took out an object with a chain. He strapped the object to his wrist and let the chain drop. It was a bladed chain about 9 feet long and had a seal on the base of the blade. It was a kanji for melt, and something told Akaru it had a coating or ability related to fire or acid. The hooded shinobi twirled the chain around him similar to a bow staff. With a very fluid movement, he threw the blade at Akaru, who barely dodged. When the stray blade hit the ground, it made a sizzling noise and the ground was singed with a light green substance. Acid. Why couldn't I be fire? Akaru complained to himself as he threw kunai and shuriken to block the chain blade. All of the projectiles the Hotoki threw instantly melted upon impact. As they gained an idea while hiding behind a boulder, Akaru charged at Shino with his new jutsu, Acid Style, Enzyme Fist. Akaru attempted toe stab or punch him. By the sound of the jutsu, Shino knew he had to dodge the jutsu. He began to flip with agility no one had expected except for Kurenai. At the precise moment, he grabbed his blade and stabbed Akaru. The chubby boy faded into a puddle. Shino realized it was a water clone. A chakra signature appeared above him, so he jumped back. Crash. A huge crater occurred in front of Shino 2 feet away. As the figure inside the dust stood up, he threw his chain around Akaru and shut the chakra flow to the blade, so the blade didn't melt him. Nonetheless, he was captured and had loss. Shino walked up to Akaru and removed the beetle as Ganma announced the winner. Winner? Shino Aburame. The crowd cheered once again, but this time it was the foreign visitors too, because Shino had won fairly without trying to completely kill his opponent. True, he had his moments, but he didn't sap out his chakra in an instant or use his chain to melt the crowd settled down. Genma announced the new combatants in order. Taimo Irazu versus Naruto Uzumaki, Shino Aburame versus Hinata Hyuga, and Sasuke Uchiha versus the winner of the first fight. Naruto and Taimo instantaneously got out of their seats and shushed into the field for the next fight. 3, 2, 1, fight! May the fight between Naruto Uzumaki and Taimo Irazu begin, Genma announced and quickly got off the field. He had enough sense to know not to bluff this battle with collateral damage. Once the special Jonin was off the field, one distinct cry was heard, Solar Style, Heat Wave. A wave of intense thermal energy was projected towards Naruto. Taimo's jutsu used a massive chakra and her bloodline to repel Naruto back, so his kenjutsu and taijutsu couldn't reach her, and the heat would make it difficult for Naruto to use a jutsu of his own. Luckily, the blonde knew how to counter the Irazu's jutsu, Dragon Style, Roar of the Wild. As he took a deep breath in, his dragon chakra gathered around his figure, and with a robust burst of energy, he roared greater than the Kyuubi on a bad day. His massive amount of dragon chakra caused the heat wave to fade into a cool breeze. Don't tell me you used your ace card already, Taimocha. Naruto mocked as he unsealed his demon's bane katanas. You wish, Taimo replied as she grabbed her own twin kodashis and put them reversed and edged at her arm. The Jinchuriki ran at Taimo with a standard Yuzushio Kenjutsu style, so he wouldn't hurt her too bad. Both blades clashed with sparks from the blurred impacts. Most of the slashes and swipes were countered by each other. Naruto ran at the girl and swiped her legs, who jumped and did an axe kick at Naruto. Said Uzumaki blocked the kick with his arm and threw it away. Then after he countered, he jumped back on his palm. Golden Dance of the Crescent Moon, Naruto yelled as he turned into a golden tornado of blades. He quickly approached Taimo. She rapidly made hand seals for a defense jutsu, Earth Style, Earth Wall. A chunk of mud and rock around 2.5 feet thick erupted between the two combatants, so Naruto's kenjutsu technique slashed through the wall. Taimo asked, going a bit over the top, are we? Sorry, but I am in a bit of a rush to finish this, so I can kill a certain gay emo bastard. Naruto replied as his eyes shifted. Not like the Kyuubi version, but different. His irises were luminescent green and altering in shades of greens with a hint of blue and yellow, and his pupils were slit. His vision was very different. It seemed to only focus on Taimo and not the crowd. Her body became highlighted at vital organs as yellow and pressure points in green. He found a quick pressure point and came up with a strategy for it. Naruto grabbed a kunai, slit his hand with it, let the blood fall on the ground and spoke his jutsu, demon style, blood clone. The two drops increased in size, formed into a figure, then their pigment grew into Naruto's color. They dispersed and attacked the Irazu air hands to blades. They circled around her 15 feet from her location, increasing in speed until Naruto became a blur. The blur developed into red lightning. Taimo realized he was using his crimson speed seal. Shit, I let him use his seal and now he could strike from anywhere. The red lightning continued quickly increasing in speed. Suddenly 2 blood clone appeared from the lightning and attacked Taimo. The first attempted to hit her with a palm hit, but Taimo stabbed his hand. Then a fear came over her as she looked at the effect of her counter. The clone's hand regenerated after a small spill of blood. The clone took the time to kick her knee, then topple her over. Once he dived at her for the final strike, Taimo grabbed her kodashi and stabbed the clone in the heart, which instantly dissolved into a red mist. So a fatal hit is needed to force dispel blood clones. She ran at the last one, who threw a punch. She caught it with her hand and used her kodashi to deeply slash the clone's chest. As the young nin got in position to attack her opponent, the red lightning disappeared. With Naruto. Kurama, are you sure this will work? Naruto asked his tenant. Both came up with an idea while testing out the crimson speed seal. Theoretically, the speed seal should be able to generate enough energy to rip through the fabric of the present dimension's space and time, the Kyuubi explained. Here goes nothing. As the blonde continued to run, he ran through a sort of tunnel of bending light and darkness until he came across the arena with him in physical combat with Taimo. He ran at her, swiped her legs, and left into his present time. Naruto was in the medical bay applying ointment and gauze to his wounds. "Kit, you just accomplished time travel," the bijou yelled in his head. "So can you tell me what happened after I returned into my own time? When you returned, you instantly remembered our plan and held your sword at Taimo's throat, who surrendered. Then you were declared winner. The match was postponed back for 15 to 20 minutes because of your planned laxatives prank in Genma's sake. So you took the time to heal. And by the way, you used too much of your chakra because you are now healing 35% slower. Save it for the fight against the Uchiha." The giant chakra fox spoke but spat out with venom in the last word. Naruto acknowledged his words and left the mindscape. "Okay, thanks." The blonde rushed to see Hinata's match against Shino. He arrived just before Gamma ran out of the bathroom and allowed the match to start. May the match between Shino Aburame and Hinata Hyuga begin. The bug user allowed 5 beetles to burrow in the ground as he made one-handed seals. Exponential growth. Shino spoke as his hands started to glow once they touched the ground. Hinata recognized the jutsu. He is using his chakra to accelerate the growth of his beetles. Now his bugs will attempt to protect him while his jutsu is complete. Hinata's hypothesis was correct as his bugs formed into 6 clones of Shino, each with their own chain blades. Once the clones surrounded her, all of them spun and threw the blade at her. She ducked, Matrix style, and grabbed 2 of the blades and pulled on them. The effect was the 2 bug clones forcefully pulled into each other and crashing, simultaneously dispelling them. One of the clones threw his blade after the first 2 dispelled, but when the blade hit the ground, Hinata noticed the melt seal was gone. Once she stabbed the clone with a kunai, she the Hyuga informed her teammate of what she had discovered. "Only your chain blade has the acidic ability, doesn't it, Shino-san?" "Sadly, my clan sealer's logic was incorrect, and fortunately for you, the acid transference seal does not copy." Shino spoke as he poured more chakra into his jutsu. Hinata took this to consideration as she finished off the last clone with a quick water jutsu. Water style. Brine needles. Small sunbon shot out of Hinata's mouth and hit the clone in many places, dispelling it. The Hyuga looked around and saw a glow from the ground that indicated Shino's jutsu was almost complete. She instantly punched the ground, creating multiple deep fractures that shows 5 red cocoons with yellow streaks. Water style, water clone, Hinata yelled as 4 more clones appeared. All took out projectiles and threw it at the cocoons, allowing their gooey contents and premature beetles to spill, now dead. Shino was about to take out his chain blade, but found 2 fingers pointing at the back of his neck. Surrender, Shino-san. You are out of chakra and defenseless. Hinata Hyuga spoke with a firm voice, still soft as silk. I, Shino Aburame, forfeit, said Shinobi spoke as Hinata was announced winner. She ran to her friends and literally jumped into Naruto's arms as he kissed her. That was awesome, Hinata-chan. You are awesome. Hinata started to blush 50 shades of red as he continued his praising. It was in 4 full minutes as he stopped. So Naruto, what was that second streak of lightning during your match? All of your clones were dispelled and you never made any extra. Ino asked the blonde as he explained to his friends. That was me from 7 minutes in the future. With enough speed and focus from my Crimson Speed Seal, the user can literally break through the fabric of space and time. How I see it, time is a road. With enough precision, you can take a detour to a different location. Everyone's jaws were hanging and their eyes were saucers, even his own teammates. Finally, Kiba spoke up. You genius bastard. You can literally change history. Go into the past and help the Shodame Hokage kill Madara Uchiha. Kiba, it's not as that simple, Naruto interjected, explaining his logic. It requires much time, focus and speed. It took 675 miles per hour to travel back 7 minutes. Plus, even if I do manage to, it would completely change the space-time continuum. I may not even know my family, or may cease to exist. Time is very delicate. That is why I've only used it once. Oh well, maybe in time you can get even faster, Kiba hoped. Oh shit, I forgot. Naruto, it's your match against Sasuke. The blonde's eyes quickly changed crimson, his whiskers started to define, and his voice changed. Thank you, Kiba. Now I get the revenge I have been waiting 3 years for. The cubified Naruto spoke as he shushed into the field where Sasuke stood with an arrogant smirk. To annoy the Uzumaki even further, the raven-haired bastard boasted. You should just quit dope. You got lucky 3 years ago, so you might as well me those swords and forfeit. The Jinchuriki just chuckled in a dark voice and replied, if you want them, you will have to take them. Naruto ran at him with a kunai and swung at his right thigh, creating a moderately deep gash, causing the Uchiha to grunt in pain and attempt to avoid the continuous attack of his ex-teammate. Sasuke grabbed, he kept in a scroll in his kunai pouch and unsealed it, revealing an ornate katana with rubies. The look of it caused a certain pink-haired girl to screech. Prepare for hell, Naruto Baka. Because you lost the moment you thought you could beat Sasuke. She never got to finish that sentence as a red-haired swordsman brought the blunt end of a kodashi on her temple, instantly knocking her the daylight out of her. The Avenger made multiple hand seals for his family jutsu, fire style, Great Fireball. A large sphere of intense heat was created, charging at Naruto like a bullet or kunai. He stood still until he made a jutsu of his own, wind style, Great Air Gale. The fireball faded into nothing as a strong breeze of wind pushed it back. Then Naruto did another jutsu for the same combo Sasuke used, water style, plain flood. The water level started to rise to their ankles and then stopped. Sasuke laughed at this. Sasuke grabbed, he kept in a scroll in his kunai pouch and unsealed it, revealing an ornate katana with rubies. The look of it caused a certain pink-haired girl to screech. Prepare for hell, Naruto Baka. Because you lost the moment you thought you could beat Sasuke. She never got to finish that sentence as a red-haired swordsman brought the blunt end of a kodashi on her temple, instantly knocking the daylight out of her. Naruto saw the katana and unsealed his own Zanbato, the one Kurama gave him, and got into the Foxfang Kenjutsu style. A style where you rely only on your smell, hearing, and touch. No Bison at all. He heard his opponent charge at him to attempt to stab at his abdomen, so he parried with his left hand, grabbed a kunai with his right, pushed Sasuke's sword back with said kunai, making his left head free with his sword. The golden-haired swordsman then smacked the Uchiha with hilt of his sword in his stomachy, then kicked him across the stadium. That was for trying to stab me. Naruto spoke as he walked closer to the raven-haired boy who was getting up from the rubble he had created. And this is from Kakashi-sensei for trying to kill me. Naruto stabbed his sword on the ground, made 7 hand seals. 7 hand seals that Sasuke easily recognized and yelled the name of his jutsu, Demon Chidori Wave. Black lightning surged from Naruto's figure to Sasuke, instantly causing him to scream in pain. HTE fell onto his knees and got up to reveal his face. His face covered with the curse seal's markings. Now, I will kill you, Kakashi, and all you care about. When I'm done, I will make your mother and sister my personal toys and rule Uzushio and Konoha, Sasuke bragged. Naruto's Cellera went pure sable, his eyes crimson, and a shroud of strange purplish chakra. Not the type of evil purple the curse seal had, but one with white, green, red, and golden. This shroud of chakra was chaotic, and from the end was three tails lashing out as if they were maniacs. The Kyuubi heard to what Sasuke said and told his container the most greatest thing in the history of spoken words. Kick his ass. The chakra continued to surround Naruto as he released his suppression, resistance, weight, and gravity seals. Sasuke, I thought of you as a friend, a brother, but you have proved me wrong. Don't you dare talk about my family, my people, or precious ones like that. Because now I am going to kill you. Because now I'm gonna kill you, yelled the chaotic cloaked Uzumaki. He ran forward with intense speed and began his thrash. The first punch went his gut, then his left arm, right thigh, and lastly went to his knee, causing the Uchiha slump down. As he did, Naruto grabbed his head and slammed it down on his knee. Blood began to pour from Sasuke's nose, signifying it was broken. Naruto jumped into the air and did an aerial axe kick to his face, launching him back to the same part of the stadium he first crashed into. Cough cough, ninja art. Semi-clone, cough. Sasuke raspily spoke as he made hand signs, and 15 figures from the blood appeared and formed into Sasuke. An arrow, it realized what the jutsu was. So this is a knockoff of my blood clone jutsu, but doesn't need any demon chakra. And judging from the chakra signatures, these clones can't do any ninjutsu or jinjutsu. Only kenjutsu and taijutsu. The clones grabbed their own swords, surrounded Naruto, and charged at him. He stood there and told Sasuke something that would make him hate Naruto even more. You know, during my time here, Kakashi-sensei taught me. He taught me a lot of things. So, returned HT favor and created for new moves based off of the original jutsu. And I taught him the two he was physically able to learn. I call it dual demon Raikiri. This is for you, Kakashi-sensei? The blonde made the same hand seals for Raikiri but didn't clutch his arm like usual. Instead, he kept them apart, and black lightning with a white glow surrounded his hands. Did you teach him that, Kakashi? Kurenai asked her associate in the stands. No, I actually taught him Chidori and Raikiri. He created dual Chidori and dual Raikiri on his own and taught it to me. Kakashi spoke with such amazement, his usual lazy eyes were wide at the match. The fact he went even further with altering his already improved version of my jutsus it remarkable. All of the Sasuke's face changed to jealous and angry. Naruto noted that the original and clones were connected. If they could feel emotions, maybe they could feel the pain. The blonde began to grin evilly at the possibilities. Maybe he could get to test out the jutsu that weirdo in the orange suit and crazy black hair taught him. As the clones ran at him, he jumped up and started to pounce on them. After 2 pounces, they jumped in the sky and landed down on the first victim. As soon as he did, all of the clones simultaneously yelled in pain. He continued to stab them with his hands as if they were daggers, until there were 4 left. By then his jutsu deactivated, and he began his next jutsu. He started to concentrate wind chakra onto his hands that were clasped together. As a small ball of energy similar to the Rasengan started to form in his hands, he slowly unclasped his hands. Albino unicorn, this is for you, buddy. The clones ran at him in a line to overwhelm him, but then Naruto used his jutsu. Thank you, old man Goku. Rasenhamaha. The sphere of energy was concentrated into a beam of destruction. It was 30 centimeters wide and long, in the form of a circle. The jutsu literally decimated the clones at contact. Naruto finally walked to Sasuke, who was unarmed, and spoke. That's right, demon. Kill the last member of the greatest clan of Konoha, like you did 16 years ago. Kill me like you killed the Yondaime. In the crowd, Minato in disguise crushed the metal with his bare hands in anger, railing after listening to Sasuke, saying that Naruto was demon and killed him and the village during that night. Come on, Naruto. I know you have more under your sleeves, my son. Show them what you are really capable of. You think I attacked the village I called my home until it tried to kill me? Naruto yelled until he realized the plan a certain XNBU told him. You don't even know what really happened that night, do you? What are you talking about? Sasuke asked with extreme confusion. Just shut up and focus on your thoughts. Everyone in the crowd too, the blonde yelled with a booming voice. Ninja art, neural remembrance. Suddenly the memories flooded them as if they were their own. Flashback 1. Fugaku and Mikoto Uchiha was speaking to the person in front of him about a vital objective. You are the factor that connects us to the village's nerve center. For out Kuidat to work, we need all the information you can leech from the village, Fugaku informed. Mikoto spoke up. The clan needs you to stay stealthy and focus. Okay. Itachi. Flashback 2. Itachi in his ANBU uniform was speaking to the Sandaime Hokage. The Uchiha clan is plotting to overthrow you and the entire village, along with killing Naruto-kun and unsealing the Kyuubi to aid them. This is quite unsettling. Desperate measures call for desperate times. Hiruzen cryptically spoke. Itachi replied, I do not understand, Hokage-sama. The old Sarutobi spoke up and informed Itachi of the fate to come. The daimyo and I have come to a conclusion. We are offering a SS rank mission. A very challenging, regretful, and sacrificing mission. But the reward is 1.5% of Konoha's budget straight to your shinobi account. We want you to kill all of the Uchiha clan and join Akatsuki as a missing nin. I will keep most of the hunter nin off you. Or you can assemble a team of elite Jonin, special Jonin, and ANBU to fight against the Uchiha during the coup. I will aid you while Asuma, Jiraiya, and Inoichi will protect Naruto and suppress the Kyuubi in case anything happens. If we can hold of that many Sharingan users, the village would suffer man casualties. The Uchiha ANBU captain logically explained, I will take the missing nin assignment. Flashback END. Well, what do you think, audience? Naruto yelled at the crowd. Most of the ninjas were disgusted with the mighty Uchiha clan. The clan that plotted in the shadows to kill all of them, and were saddened and proud of the sacrifice Itachi Uchiha made for the village. He killed his clan, his friends, his parents, all for the welfare of the village. That is bullshit. Itachi was a monster. He killed my clan, the clan that should have rightfully done as they pleased. We were Uchihas. We are gods. We are meant to rule. Sasuke yelled, which made the audience hate him more and more. Naruto just scoffed. Some gods, easily defeated by a mortal human. Shut up. At least my mother wasn't a whore. Sasuke yelled, but starting shaking, choking from all of the Ki directed at him. So what do you think? Should I spare the life of a traitor or punish him for his sins? The chaotic blonde asked the crowd, all of which screamed for bloody murder, with an exception of Konoha's civilians, Civilian Council, Koharu, and Hamura. Konoha, say goodbye to the Sharingan and the Uchiha clan. Warning. Epic torture scene where Sasuke dies. This is the most painful way I could think of to kill Sasuke. Naruto made hand seals for a jutsu. Kurama just told him, chaos style. Chains of the Sind. Pure black chains came out of the ground and attached to Sasuke's arms. I began to pull him down to where he was on his knees and his arms were extended outwards. Suddenly, the chains started to burn Sasuke. Then Naruto informed Sasuke about the chains. According to the Kyuubi, these chains only burn those with an evil heart. The Jinchuriki unsealed Demon's Bane and sent chakra to them, causing black fire to light up on each blade. Don't worry, this won't kill you. He shoved first katana into Sasuke's left eye at a certain length, so it wouldn't reach his brain. Sasuke yelled in intense pain, then increased as the sword's fire activated. The Uzumaki repeated to do so for his right eye. Chaos style, Hell's Fist. The blonde's hand was covered with a crimson flame and stabbed the ground. The ground melted into lava. This showed the crowd how hot the flame was. This is for what you said about Okasan and Imuto. Then he instantly punched Sasuke where the sun doesn't shine. Everyone heard the screams of agony, happiness for us. As Sasuke's balls and melted in goop that melted straight through the earth and dirt it fell on. The Civilian Council could only watch as the Uchiha clan could never be reproduced or clones. Masami watched in amazement as her brother easily beat the person that almost killed her. Is this how you have felt all this time, Onizen? Minato couldn't be prouder as his son defended his family's honor and name with such pride and strength. That and Fugaku was a jerk in the academy. He almost killed Kushina when they were Chunin just because she was poisoned and considered her a liability. Naruto's current teammates, ex-teammates, and girlfriend could barely look at the intense scene in front of them. It wasn't disturbing, it was a bit demonic. But considering all Sasuke did to them, Naruto and Konoha, not to mention the fact he said he would defile his mother and sister, the bastard deserved it. Kurama was so full of happiness and pleasure, he could almost wank to it. But Naruto's anger towards Sasuke grew as he did his trademark jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. 6 clones poofed into existence. The first 2 ran at him and formed regular Razengans and each hit Sasuke on the left and right side of his torso. Happy I didn't add more chakra and shove it through your heart? Well, don't get too comfortable, because you have 12 seconds to live. The 4 clones left and the original formed Rasen Shurikens. Goodbye, bastard. All of the clones would have thrown the Rasen Shurikens at the chained Uchiha until all of the clones were slashed by a swords. And at the end of the sword was Orochimaru. Kukukuku. Do you really think I would let you kill my Sasuke-kun? I have an idea. How about yo join me and I give you the Sharingan from the Uchiha DNA? How about I just stick a demon Rasengan up your ass? Because if I am joining you, then you are most likely high. Naruto unsealed Soul's judgment from the seal on his back. Die pedo. Naruto ran at him with his claymore tilted 90 degrees to the right and with single slice Orochimaru splashed into mud. To the crowd, it was all a single blur. Damn snake always gets away. He's most likely here. You are right about one thing, Kit. He gets away. Well, this is the last time. Finish this punk, then hunt a snake. The giant fox spoke. Alright team, you had 15 extra seconds. Anything else to say? The blonde requested in an annoyed voice. Sasuke grinned and replied, cough cough cough. Well, I'll see yo. He was slapped by the blonde who just gave him a too bad face. The Uzumaki made a new Rasen Shuriken, but this was made of chaotic chakra. Just like his cloak, say hi to Orochimaru in hell for me, because he is next, chaos style, chaotic Rasen Shuriken. The Jinchuriki threw the purple shuriken at Sasuke, who screamed his final voice of agony. The Uchiha clan was no more. Genma came back from the snack bar and announced the winner. Winner by death. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. The crowd began to cheer like the cure for cancer was found or Kim Jong-un died of cancer. Now all that's left is either protecting Konoha from a possible invasion while Orochimaru tries to escape or teleporting all of the allied Nin out of the area, killing all of the sound and root Nin by transforming into my night form, and destroying Konoha. I know, I'll pick Kurama. I think it's time Ota-san, Oka-san, Masami-chan, Ero Kenshi, and I show Konoha to never mess with family. I'll meet up with Oka-san, Ota-san, and Ero Kensher so I can tell them about our second plan and that I will set up the barrier jutsu. Naruto mentally discussed with Kurama, who agreed and requested him to use both summoning contracts. Said blonde met up with Kenshin to discuss about their second version of the plan. So 4 of my QB clones will use my specialized barrier jutsu. After that, 50 other clones will teleport our allies out of the village. Then my foxes and your dragons will attack the root Nin. Have our spies explained to the innocent Konoha citizens about what is about to occur. Kenshin nodded and replied, yes. I also told Tsunade, Kakashi, Asuma, Irika, Kurinai, Gai, Anko, Ibiki, Yugugo, Shibi, Inoichi, Shozu, and Hayashi, all of which agreed and informed their students/children. They left after your match. I'll go inform your mother, father, A and sister while you teleport the allies out and make the barrier. Also, the regular ANBU have been ordered stand down, so only root ANBU and hostile Konoha and Sound Nin will attack you and the others. Good luck. Okay, QB Clone Jutsu. 54 Narutos with a red chakra cloak and 2 tails appeared, and he told them the directive. I need you 4 to create the black dragon scale barrier, while the other 50 should use the flying thunder god jutsu to teleport all non-Konoha Nin and citizens out of the village. I took the liberty of planting tags in the east and north forest. Have them meet up there and explain. The Raikage, Hokage, and Kazekage will be there. Do not attack the Hokage or anyone with Kenshin. Identify him with his sword scent. Got it? All of the clones said, yes, boss. Naruto told them good luck as they left. In less than 30 seconds, large black walls of chakra started to surround the village and soon sealed, clarifying they were trapped. Then the 50 clones repeatedly teleported in and out to secure the allies and their leaders. Root Anbu shushed, attempting to stop the clones, but Naruto began to fight them. Minato took of his cloak to reveal high-souled outfit, except that his cloak was black with blue flames. The kanji on his back said, "Bloody Flash," and a 6-foot katana in his hand. On of the civilians spoke up, "Yondaime-sama has returned to kill the demon and save us." That same villager was decapitated, as Minato replied, "I am not here to save you, because I am here to help my son get revenge for what you bastards did to him while I was dead. You want to see a demon? Well, you now have 2 to deal with." Minato started to teleport faster than Naruto's clones in order to continuously kill them with either his katana or that occasional lightning or wind jutsu. Kushina got up and told the Kages it was her turn to help her son, while the remaining leaders were teleported. She released the transformation jutsu to reveal her shinobi outfit that consisted of black pants, a black long-sleeves shirt with a vest containing multiple scrolls on her hip, steel arm guards on each arm, and 2 katanas on her back. Look at my profile for a pic, but just add an extra sword and scrolls on her hips. She unsealed the scroll to reveal a large reverse summoning seal. Kushina bit her thumb and wiped the blood across the seal. Suddenly 400 Uzushi Nin appeared from the smoke. "Uzushi Nin, you have been chosen me because of your skills. Together we will aid my children, husband, and brother in the destruction of Konoha for their past sins. If I lead you into battle, will you give us your best?" All of the Nin cheered as they agreed and charged. Miniature cyclones and waves drowned. Blades cut through flesh like butter. All of them gave it their all. Little did they of what to expect 15 minutes later. The non-Konoha audience was rapidly teleported by flashed of red, black, and yellow. "Hey, what happened? Where are we? What about the final match?" Many of the non-Konoha audience were asking each other aloud. Tsunade walked up and yelled / said, "Quiet!" Everyone shut up. Now that everyone is done, Naruto has teleported all non-Konoha shinobi and villagers along with some shinobi and villagers that respected and didn't hurt him out of the village in the forests. You may be asking why. It is because Konoha will be destroyed in the next 2 hours by Minato Namikaze, Kushina Uzumaki, Kenshin Uzumaki, Masami Uzumaki Namikaze, and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. All of the refugees were shocked. Not only was Konoha's ex-shinboy destroy his former village with his family, but Minato Namikaze was alive. Gaara saw this and spoke up. "Yes, he is alive, but most must be thinking why Konoha will be destroyed. Well, the village that Naruto grew up in abused him 24/7 ever since he was born. When was conceived, the Kyuubi was sealed into and the villagers considered him a demon and tortured him. People of the Sand Village, he has suffered a fate greater than me but remained pure. I wish you to seek the justice in his actions." All of the visitors understood, but it was the Sand Village more than the others that did. Their leader grew up in great anger and sorrow and turned out to be a psychopath. But the same abused Jinchuriki was always positive, loving, and caring. He even changed Gaara into the person he was today. Once all of the teleportees were settled down, they watched as Konoha fell. Masami was already killing villagers and Jonin. Soon, the young Uzumaki found herself at the orphanage, so she found the nearest clone to take away the orphans, leaving her with the woman who took care of them. The woman who tortured Naruto. The woman who kicked her out of the orphanage when he was 5 years old. Masami grinned evilly as her chakra sharks slowly mauled her. She had never felt better, until she found a pink-haired T hiding in an alley. It was chaos. Then Naruto's chaos cloak appeared and his Cellera went black, and his irises red. Summoning jutsu. An army of 70 foxes and 50 dragons poofed onto the buildings and attack. The fires began to burn homes and shops, while the foxes found hidden citizens and shredded them. Even with so many soldiers and summons, it would take 3 hours maximum to destroy Konoha. After all, Naruto wanted to do it slowly, just like the way they killed him every day of his childhood. After 14 minutes of the continued massacre, the civilian council was underground panicking, especially Mabuki Haruno. "I told you we should have killed that demon as soon as he was 3. He was vulnerable and so easy to kill with any poison. But of course you didn't agree with me."
Danzo interjected. "No.
Shut up, he should have been in my root program. He could have been Konoha's greatest weapon. A hole crashed and from it came a figure. That figure was Minato, and as soon as Mabuki saw him, she ran to him. Namikaze-kun, you are back to save me? She squealed. Once she came 3 inches in front of Minato, he stabbed her 5 times with a root kodashi he found. The remaining council, Danzo, Hamura, and Koharu were taken aback and left in shock of what their 4th Hokage had done. Do you know what you just did? Demanded Koharu with a hint of fear in her voice. Minato just scoffed and replied, Yes, I rid the world of a child abuser and about to do the same to a bunch of corrupted bastards and bitches. Minato ran at them only to be stopped by his son who suggested, How about we do this together? Minato grinned. Both grabbed a katana and dashed forward. Devil's sink! They both spoke in perfect harmony as their victims were diced. All but Danzo who jumped and shushened, which pissed Minato off. Don't worry, Ota-san. We'll get him and Orochimaru. Minato nodded and asked Naruto something important. You Masami and Kenshin have night packs, right? Naruto nodded. Well, you, Masami, Kenshin, Kushina, and I will destroy Konoha in our night forms. Naruto grinned intensely and sent 3 messenger foxes to tell High Sister, Mother, and Uncle where to meet up. Once they did, Minato released the blood seal on his palm to reveal a mask and Kanshina unsealed an ornate bow from a scroll. Both made their pact at the same time made his pact. O Adalmia, shining sovereign, supreme light of the ancient skies, grant me your power / Aletheia, argent goddess and beacon in the ancient night, grant me your power. Minato put on his mask. Kushina shot an arrow of energy at the sky. Kenshin struck the dagger inside his gauntlet. Masami twirled her sword until the wings detached, and Naruto threw his belt which attached to his waist. All of them yelled, Verdo! Each member of the family had their own rune circle. Kenshin turned into his Weisel form with ornate white and blue armor, a blue cape, and a large sword and shield. Masami transformed into a female armored knight. She had some curves to her figure, a long lance with a blade at the end, and black wings. Minato's form was somewhat centurion-like Weisel. His armor was all gold. He carried a staff with a blade coming out of each end, and each shoulder piece had a cape that connected. Kushina turned into a female knight with metallic curves, punk and light purple armor, an ornate silver bow, and flowing white hair. Check my profile for the transformations and images. Knights, attack, Minato said in his ancient echo voice. Kushina was on top of buildings shooting energy arrows at buildings and villagers. Minato was using his heat powers to melt and disintegrate everything to ash. Masami created tendrils from darkness to strangle along with slating and spearing. Kenshin and Naruto were both on the ground unleashing their bladed fury upon Konoha. Hey Ota-san, how is it like to be back as a knight? Naruto asked his formerly dead father. Minato laughed and truthfully said, Ha 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 ha. I've actually only done my knight form twice. Both in war, then I learned the dangers of others finding it out and stopped. He melted 5 building during his little info. Kushina spoke up, but we still kicked major ass. Naruto laughed at his mother's comedic side, and his father's logical, well enough talk, let's continue. I couldn't agree more Sochi, Kushina replied. The attack started at 3:30 p.m. and ended at 5:10 p.m. The greatest village in the shinobi was destroyed in less than 2 hours. In the end, only 2 relative things remained. The Hokage Mountain Monument and Sakura Haruno, Aden, Sakura haters. Prepare to watch her suffer even more. But kids below 16 do not read. I will not post her suffering right now though, because it is a rough draft. Soon, very soon. Naruto and Masami were sitting on the Hokage monument gazing into the sunset. Naruto was looking more at HT damage that Konoha deserved, while Masami rested her head on her brother's shoulder. She was tired, he was tired. All of the invaders were tired. Happy but tired. So what is next, Oni-san? Naruto grinned and let out a small chuckle. Ota-san and I will visit Danzo and Orochimaru in the Hidden Sound Village. I want to take care of some personal business and get revenge on Orochimaru for killing Gigi 3 years ago. In 2 days, it will be his death anniversary. And what is a better way than killing the person for the reason of his death? Okay, so what will you do tomorrow? Masami inquired her twin, who simply replied, celebrate, cheering, food, laughing, games, jokes, stories. All of these could easily be found at Uzushio's Festival of the Fallen held in honor of the Uzumaki Namikaze family. Sand, mist, and cloud villagers and shinobi all came to attend the festival. Some for the famous ramen and food by the new Ichiraku, some for the amazing view and sightseeing in the land, and some just to be happy. All in all, there was not a single attendee nor host that was mad, angry, or unhappy. Children ran around laughing, playing games at the stands. Adults stood watching said children and enjoying each other's company. The elite shinobi told others of the fall of Konoha and how the Uzumaki Namikaze family turned into giant powerful beings right after single-handedly destroying portions of Konoha while fighting off its own shinobi. Veterans told stories of wars and battles fought in their prime. Some men even proposed to their sweethearts. It was a time of love, compassion, and glory. Naruto was wearing a silk black blazer, with a red dress shirt, black shoes, wild hair flowing with his red streaks, and black dress pants. Others had a good amount of daily compassion. But for Naruto, it was a bit too much love. Many daughters of rich merchants, ambassadors, and leaders kept asking Naruto to go on a date, become his girlfriend, become his fiancé, or even bear his children. They want you for the glory and fame, know the man. Plus, Hinata would be heartbroken. Kit, these vixens are starting to annoy me. And I am not even you. Just use my fire element to scare them and add chakra to your voice. Kurama spoke with a grumpy voice. That's right, 12 hours ago, Naruto had 100% control over his tenant's chakra, which gave him a fire form of sorts. Flames basically covered him and he had godly control over anything with heat. Naruto thought it was a good idea and activated it. Crimson and golden flames surrounded him and became part of his suit. The side edge of each eye grew a small flame and started to flicker as a white fire. Stop! Now, Naruto said in a firm voice that got their attention. The girls started to back away until a torrent of water came upon him and caused his chakra control to mess up, causing the flames to deactivate. Naruto looked in the direction of water and saw Masami wearing a tight white dress smirking and giving him the victory sign. Damn it! Naruto mentally cursed, until he noticed the lustful gleams directed at him. Kit, run! The giant fox instructed and Naruto listened. Even though Naruto was above Kage level in skill, his suit was expensive and he didn't want to rip it, so he was running like a normal person. It wasn't until 20 minutes later and at the Great Whirlpool Fountain he met Hinata wearing a blue dress with the front of her right skirt leg cut for fashion purposes. Naruto-kun? Who are they? She spoke in that sweet sour voice that screamed bloody murder. Oh, I'm about that. Thayarki Kindikasing Mindinido your help getting them away. Naruto quickly and nervously spoke. All Hinata did was give the girls a stare with her Byakugan and coldly informed. He is mine, harlots. Back. Off. The girls instantly ran with their tails between their legs, leaving Naruto with Hinata glaring at him. Hey, don't blame me. I'm just casually walking and saying hi, and then Tei are constantly annoying me about me marrying them. The blonde attempted to explain. Well, you better not, Hinata said and then went into cute mode. What would happen to me? Naruto just smiled at her antics. Nothing will happen to you. I will make sure of it. Now shall we continue? He asked as he grabbed her waist and the couple continued to walk around. After shaking 68 hands, the couple went to sit at a nearby cafe. Hinata ordered the pumpkin spice and Naruto ordered a cafe mocha. Both of their drinks came in 2 minutes and the blonde started the small talk. Look at us. 16 just destroyed a village, dressed like it's a wedding and drinking coffee. How did we get here? If I was Shino-san, I would say, Henge, logically, Uzushio planned a festival and I am your date. So after greeting so many people, we chose to get coffee, Henge end. Hinata spoke while turning into Shino for the effect. Ha ha ha, that's a good one. So Hinata, I will be out of the village for a day or two starting tomorrow. I want to tell you in advance so you won't get worried or anything. Naruto laughed and told her, who nodded. They finished their drinks, Naruto paid the bill and left. They continued to walk until the Jinchuriki asked his girlfriend, so what is your favorite part about the festival? I like the happiness and joy it brings. It reminds me of my mother. The Lavender Hyuga answered truthfully. Then Naruto spoke his answer. I like being with you to enjoy it with. Their faces grew near, until their noses were inches apart. They stared into each other's eyes and joined their lips. It was their second kiss. But unlike the last one, this wasn't rushed nor partially one-sided. Both of them returned and continued to until they needed to come up for air. So I will see you in the morning, right, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked her boyfriend. He nodded and replied, anything for you, Hinata-chan.
6:15 am.
Naruto was doing his normal morning routine, 10-mile run, 250 push-ups, 300 crunches, shadow clone sparring, kenjusta kata practice, etc. He continued to until it was 9:40, so he went home to take a shower and discussed with Kurama about how Danzo and Orochimaru escaped his barrier. Personally, I think it was a Shushin boosted by an amplification seal. The Nine Tails offered. No. Naruto shook his head. An amplification seal requires a level 3 minimum seal master, and Konoha has only had 5. Ero Sennin, Sarujiji, Shodame-sama, and my father, whom all are deceased. So it is most likely an earth jutsu. Orochimaru does specialize in them and is partnered with Danzo. Danzo could have Shushin short range, ran to Orochimaru, and burrowed a tunnel with him. The Kyuubi scoffed at his error. Either way, the sound will become ashes. Danzo a pile of bandages, and Orochimaru, carbon in the air. Naruto grinned as he dried his hair and put on his battle uniform with his scratched Konoha headband. So can I summon you to fight Danzo? He continued. You better, or else I am taking away your fox contract. Kurama yelled in his head. Damn, fine. No need to get your fur in a knot. The Bijou started an verbal assault on Naruto, who simply cut their mind-link connection, so he could go to the village gate peacefully. Once he got there, Hinata, Masami, Kushina, Minato, and Kenshin were standing. Are you sure you want to do this, Sochi? I'm with Kushina on this, Naruto. I mean, you will take on all of the Sound Village, Danzo, and Orochimaru alone. Kenshin also spoke. Naruto shook his head. I won't be alone. I have Kurama, he cryptically spoke. None of them understood. It could have meant he would summon the Kyuubi on the Sound Village, let Kurama possess him, or even take his final form. What about innocent lives? Masami asked her twin. I sent a message to the Sound that if they want to live, they would need to leave the village. So hopefully innocent casualties are decreased as possible, the blonde answered. I have to go. I'll be back in one day. Masami hugged Naruto and gave him a kiss on his forehead. Hinata gave him a passionate kiss on his lips and told him, You better be back in a day. He nodded, activated his Crimson Speed Seal, and ran off in red lightning. Little did Naruto know, he reached past Mach 2 in 16 seconds. Kit, calm down a bit. You might accidentally time travel. The fox warned him. Naruto heeded the alert and continued until he saw the Sound Village's gates 2 kilometers with his keen vision. Instead of decreasing his speed and stopping, he rushed forward, increasing, lightning style, starburst bullet. White chakra and red lightning emit from Naruto's body as he crashed through the 1.5-foot gate, causing the metal to melt and shape an outline of his body. Hello! H simply spoke as Shinobi rushed at him. He unsealed Demon's Bane, grabbed a Kodashi and put said Kodashi in his mouth. His attackers were a bit hesitant of his sword style but continued their attempted assault. As one tried to stab the Jinchuriki, Naruto flip-kicked him so he fell face first onto the ground. Once he was flat, Naruto landed on Shihan's, except it was his katana that pierced the enemy shinobi's body. The second was foolish enough to engage Kenjutsu. Naruto sliced his arms off, buried his katanas in the Sound Chunin's feet, anchoring him and reducing his mobility completely. Once immobile, Naruto spiral spun and whipped his head at him. This caused the Kodashi in his mouth to dig deep into the Chunin's throat. To make it worse, the blonde jerked his head the opposite way. That single movement lacerated his throat. Blood poured from all over upper face. Check my profile for a vivid image of his face during this. WW what the hell are you? A Jonin yelled as he saw his comrade's throat be ripped open for blood to spray out like a gusher. Naruto spit out the Kodashi and answered, Someone who has had enough. Wind style, great breakthrough. A massive shockwave sent 20 Sound Shinobi flying back as they approached. You think it's time, old friend? Hell yes. Naruto unsealed Soul's Judgment, struck it into the ground, made dozens of hand seals, and yelled his jutsu. By the bloodshed of my enemies, I summon the Kyubi no Yoko. A huge spark of energy and light blinded everything, until it faded. And once it did, a large, red, demonic fox could be seen. A fox with 9 tails which spoke, "Hello Sound Village, my name is the Kyubi." The large amount of Ki directed at all of the Shinbai caused them to freeze or asphyxiate. Some even died from the lack of oxygen due to their will of live. Veteran shinobi went into cardiac arrest. Just as it couldn't get any worse, Naruto turned into a second Kyubi. But this one was made purely out of yellow chakra with black seal markings. Inside the beast was Naruto, glowing with the same chakra, a cloak of chakra, the same black seals, and his whiskers thickened into black lines. "Everyone fall attack," a Jonin officer announced. Most of the sound shinobi attacked, but around 128 stood still. "Emarzu, Ratabi, Uzui, what are you and the others doing?" The officer suddenly found Uzui with a kunai in his throat and released his henge, revealing a shadow clone of Naruto. The other 127 attacked other sound shinobi and released their henges too. "Earth style, Great Gaia Barrier," 15 sound Chunin yelled, creating a thick dome of rock around the area that the clones and Kyubis had not yet invaded. Naruto and Kurama grinned once they saw this, even though several shinobi were throwing kunai at them. The duo swung their 9 tails, swiping all of the enemies in a 70 feet radius. "You ready, Naruto?" Kurama asked with delight. "You bet," the blonde teen answered as his Kyubi cloak's mouth opened, and put his arms up vertically to focus large amounts of chakra. Kurama just opened his jaws to do the same. Colossal spheres of both dark and regular chakra formed into a purplish shade. Kurama ate his sphere and Naruto pulled his hands back, similar to a Kamehameha style. As the Jinchuriki pushed the sphere, Kurama expelled it from his mouth. Both bijou and container created a giant stream of energy to be directed at the Earth Dome. Whereas Naruto's destroyed the sphere, Kurama's destroyed all of the buildings, shinobi, and homes. By the time the village was destroyed, the clones had killed all of the sound nin and poofed out of existence. Both detecting 2 strong chakra signatures, they punched HTE ground in their Kyubi form. This revealed both Danzo and Orochimaru, who had selfishly hid underground as his loyal shinobi's lives had been lost. "Kukuku, you have grown very strong, Naruto-kun," the snake Sannin spoke. "If only you were in my root program, you could have been great," Danzo interjected. Naruto's cloak started to fade by his will. In seconds he returned to his regular shinobi clothes. "I'm alright, thank you very much, mummy. And to answer you, pedo, if you push me hard enough, I will backlash harder on my enemies than you can even imagine. Especially if they have tortured me for 13 years and kept my family from me." He started to tightly close his hands, and his eyes grew dark and evil. "Now, I am here to avenge Sarujiji and finish what he and Bachan started 3 years ago." Danzo just laughed. "Do you honestly think that an ordinary child can take on the both of us alone? First of all, you of all people should know I am not ordinary. Second, I never have been alone," Naruto yelled. Suddenly a figure dropped from the sky. The figure was Minato, but his hair was red with black highlights. His eyes were crimson and slit. He had 9 red tails behind him, a black and red claymore on his back, a black cloak with red flames, and 3 whisker marks on each cheek. "Danzo, huh? Well, you've wanted my power for over 15 years, and now you will get it at full blast." Danzo found intense Ki being directed at him. It's like well, demonic. "Who are you? I know you aren't Minato Namikaze." The figure chuckled and replied, "At least age hasn't rotted your brain. My name is Kurama Namikaze, but you know me as the Kyubi." Danzo's face went pale as paper. Orochimaru was an exception because he was already pale asfuck. Naruto grinned at this and informed, "Surprise. Now, it is time for long-needed justice." Just as promised, the following scene is of the torturing of Sakura, and is rated M. If you do not want to read this gory ish scene with some severe language, skip down to the until you see bold, caps letters.
Reader S discretion is advised.
Also, this next portion ID 3 hours prior to Yuzugio's festival. Today was just not Sakura's day. Naruto had severely kicked Sasuke's ass and killed him. Uzushio had invaded Konoha. The Yondaime had helped destroy her home, and she had been captured by Naruto's twin sister. She was currently tied up to an iron chair with duct tape covering her mouth and cloth sack over her head. Suddenly Naruto and Masami walked into the dark room she was held in. "Hello, slut," Masami insulted as she closed the door. "So Miss Haruno, how are we today? A bit disappointed and very sad that you will never be Mrs. Uchiha or have any little Uchiha," Naruto taunted as he took off the sack, ripped of the tape on her mouth and made a silencing seal. Once her mouth and head was free, she yelled at the two Uzumakis. "Naruto, once I get out of here, I swear I will." "Will what, huh? Hit me on the head again for no reason. Slap me or call me annoying for helping you. Or beat me to a pulp like your whore of a mother did to me ever since I was born." Naruto backlashed and interrupted. Masami slapped Sakura with the back of her hand. "How dare you attempt to threaten my brother? You want a little taste of the horrors he faced before he could even speak? Here you go." Naruto placed a metal grill on her bare feet and coals underneath the grill. "No, no, no, please don't do this." Fire style, flare. A small ember lit on the coal. Due to the coal being coated in oil, the flames shot up to her shins. Ragged burns and burned flesh covered her feet. Sakura's lower skin started to slowly melt into nothing. The fire caused her to scream intensely. But no one heard because of Naruto's silencing seal. The female Uzumaki made a small water jutsu to expel the fire. Even after the fire on her feet, He grill still conducted heat and burned what was left of them. The Haruno yelled with agony and pain to what was happening to her. "Shut the fuck up," Naruto yelled. "You always spent money on your nails, skin, and hair. Shall we test how durable they are?" Naruto's fingers turned into claws, Kurosaki of Kurama, and he used them to make small, deep laceration on every centimeter of Sakura's skin. Whereas Masami jabbed Sakura's nails with a kunai, then pushed it back so he nails here ripped off her fingers. Blood poured from the top base of her fingers like a faucet, but it was nothing compared to the cuts on her skin. A constant flow of red that covered her entire body. Just when the pink-haired Kunoichi thought it couldn't get any worse, Masami pushed several senbon through her lips, suing her to limit movement and decrease chances of her to scream. "Will that shut up your screams?" Naruto asked, not expecting an answer. "Do you want to finish this Nii-san?" Masami comically asked his puppy eyes, and Naruto answered, "Thank you, Amudo." Said blonde unsealed his katana and activated it with his chakra, casing the blade to be covered with a black flame. "Goodbye, Sakura-chan." Naruto spoke with venom and put his blade on Sakura's hair. The girl's pink hair was covered with black flames that first burned off her hair, and then continued down her body. Both of the Uzumakis left the room as soon as the flames started, to let her die alone painfully. There you go. This was exclusively for Sakura haters. Yes, Naruto is more evil, but this is the dark ending. So I hope you liked it. If not, then it was my first time writing gore and torture. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. Babe Ruth. Sandlot. Thank you, J. Hellscythe, for the P.M. Panic shook around the hospital as a gurney was urgently rushed to the OR. Following the gurney was a woman with pure red hair, a teen with red hair and blonde tips, a man with red hair and facial scars, and another man with blonde hair. All of them covered in blood. The woman and girl were crying profusely, and the men were intensely angered and ensorrowed. How could I have let this happen? I was supposed to protect him, the man with the red hair thought. The blonde one had thoughts of his own. Why couldn't protect my son? First I seal a demon within him that makes his life miserable, and now he is dying because I held back. The person in the gurney was a blonde boy of 16, covered in his and others' blood. The boy's cloak was in tatters, so was his shirt and shinobi vest. Lacerations, burns, cuts, and scars covered his body. 2 thin openings from a katana in his chest and 4 punctures from kunai on his bod. 1 in his bicep, 1 in his stomache, another in his chest, and the last near his ribcage. Another cut on his right cheek which crossed diagonally over his 3 whisker marks. Blood from his lip, mouth, chest, leg, arms, and head. The boy in the gurney was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the legacy O the Yellow Flash. Also known as the Crimson Cyclone, the Bloody Storm, the Kyuubi Reincarnation, the Golden Maelstrom. And now, Hero of Konoha. But all at a price, this one possibly too hefty. Get him on the table stat. Tsunade yelled as she, Shizune, and 5 other surgeons walked into the OR. Get me morphine, and 4 drip, type B plus blood, clamps, scalpels, forceps, gauze, adrenaline syringe, Venturi mask, an O2 tank, and sake. Once all the necessary supplies and sake were retrieved, they began operating. He had major internal bleeding, 3rd-degree burns, 13 broken bones, both lungs punctured, and lacerations. It brought Shizune to her feet to see Naruto wearing a Venturi mask, being cut into, and about to die in front of her. As they were operating, his pulse weakened and the EKG, electrocardiogram, it's EKG not ECG, flatlined. We're loosing him, Shizune yelled as she grabbed the defibrillator, adjusted the voltage and put the electrode handles on Naruto's chest. His body jumped up from the shock, but his heart didn't respond. Turn up the defibrillator, commanded Tsunade. They continued. The Uzumaki Namikaze family heard the semi-panic, which brought even further distraught to them, causing them to cry more. At this point, Kushina and Masami's words were just mumbles. Kenshin and Minato had tears in their eyes that had them both thinking the same thing. How did this happen? 25 minutes earlier, Naruto was fighting side by side with his friends and family. As him and Kenshin were sweeping the sound with a mix of Kazakenjustu, ANBU started to appear in the battle. Naruto decapitated one and took his mask. The Jinchuriki's eyes narrowed at the symbol. So did his uncle's when he showed it to him. Uncle, it's root. Meaning. Danzo team is here, the scarred swordsman interrupted. Be on alert. So you took my insult line, huh? If you weren't family, I would launch you into the sky. That's IT. Naruto received a grand idea and went to his friends. You take, launch me up. Hinata, use air palm to push me into the sky. And tell everyone to clear the area. They did as Naruto requested. He jumped on top of Utake's Zanbato, who propelled it forward. He reached about 5 feet in the air. That was when Hinata came into the plan and pushed a large amount of chakra to her arm. Air palm, she yelled. Then the blonde was pushed up another 30 feet in the air. That was when he began his tactic. Verto! Larnerv appeared in the sky in his mighty glory. But his armor was blood red and his eyes glowed purple. As gravity caused him to fall, his figure and trident glowed with golden flames. Divine comet crash. The crimson-cloaked blonde crashed to the ground as a meteor, creating a giant, fiery crater which severely crippled Danzo's root forces. Naruto's allies kept thanking him mentally to get a warning. That boy could accomplish the impossible at 16. Imagine him in his prime only a few years away. When Naruto did recover from the crater, he was in human form without his cloak, and burned a bit. Hinata instantly ran to her boyfriend. Oh my god, you didn't tell me this was gonna happen. It's okay, I'm alright. Naruto comforted her, but his wince of pain betrayed him. My demon chakra interfered with my night mode. It siphons of my chakra, and now reacts violently to my chaotic chakra. Here, she gave him a small medical ninjutsu on his leg to help him fight. In return, he gave her his chakra to almost fill her chakra reserves. Thanks, Hinata-chan. No, thank you, Naruto-kun. The two started deeply at each other. No matter the violence that was occurring, it was a romantic moment. Their faces closed in on each other enough so they could feel the other's breath. There was a huge explosion on the side of them, as their lips closed in. It was only 2 centimeters until their lips touched, until Masami yelled at them, War first, sex later. Imuto/Masami-san. They both separate blushing. It was a minor silence before they both agreed and continued to fight. Tsu was in a bit of trouble at the moment, so Naruto went to help her out, and Hinata aided Shikamaru. The Shinarashi was surrounded. True, there was water all around her. But there was one problem. Damn, I'm out of chakra. That was until Naruto appeared in